Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. God, that noise I just made was actually involuntary.
A little bit of Yoda, a little bit of Tim the Toolman Taylor there.
Yeah, it's true. Is everybody done with their vocal warm-ups?
More power you need.
I'm keeping all of this in the show.
Yeah.
This is the show. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 612. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined today by Christopher Davis.
Good evening.
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Guthridge.
Ahoy!
We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. Of course, before we get into that, there's a few things I want to mention. First and foremost, this has been working out pretty well. Guys, we are so close to hitting our next Patreon goal, in which we will do a Project M. Yes. If you're new, if you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, go to our YouTube channel and find clips of our Project M. They're a lot of fun.
This would be our third official one, right?
Official one, yes.
So we could call it Project Just have like the 3 M's.
Yeah, it's true.
And we gotta play something delectable.
3M's. Let's not get sued by 3M's.
Yeah, specifically 3 M's.
You both make very good points.
We're gonna get a C and D.
That's why we pay both of you the big bucks. But anyways, yes, we are at we basically need 15 new patrons. That's all we need. We're trying to hit 150 patrons before we do this next event, and we only need 15 more. So
that's not that many.
It doesn't matter
if
you become a $1 pledge, a $3 pledge, or even a $10 pledge. It doesn't matter. You're all on the same playing field. You get the perks, of course, but it all contributes towards the same number. If we hit 150, we will plan our next Project M. So one thing I wanted to do. We usually do this in the community segment, but I figured I'll just start the show by welcoming our new patrons, because we've got quite a few of them. And I just
patrons.
I just wanted to say, as of today, Santu is a patron. Santu.
What about San1?
Huh?
What?
What?
Nothing.
Was that one of those Nolan jokes?
Nope.
Welcome Alexander B. And welcome to Jessica.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It just says Jessica. But welcome to all three of you. Those are new patrons we've gotten since, I believe, last week's show.
Are any of you in chat tonight?
That's a good question. I don't know if they're in chat, but if you are, say hello. But yes, anyways, thank you so much for your support. If you're interested in supporting us on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/4player and pick your tier, make your pledge, and help us reach our goal. I also want to mention Discord at discord.gg/4player. It's a great place to be, to hang out and talk about video games with us, with the community. We just created a new channel, or actually Krispy just created a new channel for Control.
Well, I only did it.
You're out of control.
It started with Carlos, though.
The people were asking for a Control channel.
Yes.
And I'm a man of the people.
You're out of control.
And you made the Control channel. It is in there. If you're
you made the second Control channel.
Well, I made
Carlos made the first Control channel, which was entitled Worst Game of 2019.
Yeah, Carlos made a Worst of 2019 channel about Control. I made a channel for Control.
Thank you. Well, it's funny. The Worst of 2019 channel is still going pretty good. We're not talking about Control, obviously, because that's a great video game that we're going to talk about tonight. Yeah, I guess that's the move. We're going to talk about Control tonight, so we'll get to that in a second. I also want to mention, if you're a supporter at the $3 tier or higher, or a Twitch subscriber, I almost said Twitch patron, which I guess still makes sense. Twitch subscriber, and you're participating in the Revival Club, we did just open voting for the next one, which is going to be for September, October. I know my months.
Hope we pick something good this time.
There's some heavy hitters in there.
There's some heavy.
What are the
We're
options?
doing it a little bit different. So I've narrowed it down to, I've curated the list down to 10, and everyone gets to pick one game on the list. But there's some good stuff on there. I know Chris Davis wants me to mention Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. I
didn't even need to say anything.
I did that for you, Chris Davis.
Well, it's going to be on that list every single time until it happens.
Sure. There's probably a lot of games that are like that. Fear is on there, the original Fear.
That's a fucking good video game.
Drakengard 3, which is kind of one of the deeper cuts. Dark Cloud 2 is on there. KOTOR 2 is on there. There's some good stuff.
Y'all vote for Dark Cloud 2. I'll finally play one if y'all do Dark Cloud 2.
You should go vote in the poll, sir.
I mean, I did last time, but it didn't count.
Damn.
It didn't?
Well, my game didn't win, so it was irrelevant.
That's not a
So democracy didn't work.
Exactly.
That's not
The
a good
one
way to
I
look at it.
wanted didn't win, so it was pointless.
That's not a good way to look at it. But anyways, if you're interested in participating and you want to vote for the next game we play, just go into Discord and go to the nominations channel. There's a link pinned in there where you can go vote. And without further ado, let's get into feedback from last week's show, which I almost forgot.
more
but I
ado.
did.
I was gonna say.
Damn it. Dude, I'm glad. I wanted more ado.
Yeah,
I was hoping for
I
it.
was just getting warmed up on ado.
I wasn't ready for the ado to be over.
I don't know what we're talking about. All right. From last week, of course, we started every show by reading feedback from our last podcast. So if you have any comments or contributions to make to tonight's discussions, go to 4playernetwork.com, leave a comment on the post for this episode. From last week, we have Drew327. He's a very faithful commenter. He does most weeks. He does start this by saying, you don't have to read this on the show.
Oh, but
Should I read it on the show?
what was
Read
it?
it
on
on
the show.
I dare you. You
All right.
All he says, oh my god.
Tell us what it says and we'll decide.
All right, I'll do that. He says, loved hearing about Ed's Fire Emblem spreadsheet. I did the same thing, except I'm old, so I wrote it in a notebook.
Nice.
Also, I'm totally that guy. Golden Deer House, but I have stolen every female from the other houses. Petra first, of course.
Creepy. No, I'm joking.
I guess I did it wrong. I just picked the house with the ladies.
Wait, did you guys all
And then I don't have
for
to
your
steal
main
the lady.
character? Did you go male or female?
I went female.
Really?
And did I make a mistake?
I don't have a problem with playing a female main character. I do it a lot. I did not care for the design of the female main character in this game.
That was me in Dragon Quest Builders, too. I prefer the aesthetics of the male character.
Yeah, I don't know what it... I mean, like, I think my big problem with the female character in this one is that her costume looks too much like a sexy Halloween costume version of the male.
Yeah, I guess
Like-
yeah, I can see that.
It's like not a different design. They just like cut sections of it out.
Yeah.
Well, this one's for a lady, so
and
we'll
gave
cut
it a
that part
skirt
out.
or something. Like, yeah, I don't
It
know.
is kinda-
This is
yeah.
kind of jarring.
I can see how you did that. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Drew, of course, for the comment. Sorry, I did decide to read it on the show, despite your request. Ichi's Kid says, the more I see from Death Stranding, the less excited I am about it. He's channeling Carlos tonight.
Fuck yeah.
I'm starting to think Kojima needs someone above him to tell him that names like Die Hard Man, Heart Man, and Dead Man are extremely stupid. I think it's kind of ridiculous that we still don't really know what the gameplay loop is in this game.
No, that's perfect. I don't want to fucking know. It's perfect.
We don't know how important urinating is yet.
You grow mushrooms.
We do know that
I
it
didn't
is
know
a
that.
mechanic.
Stop spoiling it, Nick.
All right, you didn't know about the mushrooms thing?
No.
Hey, can you turn my audio down just a hair? I think I'm a little loud. Could be wrong. I am the host, but that's okay.
Sam has a penis.
Confirmed.
Spoiler alert.
Well,
And you
yeah,
can show it to Jeff Keighley.
Speaking of mushrooms, yeah, you
Y'all
can
are
show
telling me so much shit I didn't know.
Really?
Yes.
You do know Jeff Keighley's in it, right?
Yes, only because Hideo Kojima keeps tweeting photos of him. That's the only reason.
And
he
then-
also keeps tweeting pictures of Norman Reedus' dick.
And Jeff...
I
and
have
then-
not seen any gameplay footage of this since the one from fucking like months ago
He's like,
with the baby.
I drew the motion tracking dots on his penis myself.
Wait, is that the mushroom you grow?
Oh, no.
One of
Anyways, he goes on to say, no gameplay I've seen has given off that wow factor like Metal Gear Solid 5 did before launch. Seeing all those new MGS5 mechanics before that game came out didn't take away from the mystery of the plot of that game. Hopefully Death Stranding is more than just bridging dots on a map as you play as some guy actually named Sam Porter Bridges.
Yeah.
I mean, for Metal Gear Solid 5, they showed off like an hour and a half of the fucking game over several years.
That is
did.
true. That is true. I mean, one, not a huge fan of the names, like Ichi's Kid said. They're proper
like,
stupid.
They're like
but,
Mega Man boss names.
But here's the thing.
I think Mega Man boss names are smarter.
They are exactly the kind of names.
Well,
that you would
sorry, hold on.
expect
Take a step
anyone.
back. I have no fucking idea what the names are besides the ones you just read, and I
Yeah.
was only half paying
Die Hard
attention
Man.
because I don't want to know.
Die
I don't
Hard
wanna know.
Man.
I don't want. I literally want to go into this game knowing fucking like
Is
there's
it-
a guy and like a baby and maybe at some point what's his face Hannibal
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen shows up and maybe at some point What's his face? I can't. My brain doesn't
This
work
is great.
today.
The baby's a clone of Palpatine.
Probably. What's his name? Fucking Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy, Shape of
Guillermo
Water.
del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro might show up at some point in the
He
game.
does. They released a video.
Frankentoro?
Him.
Well, wait, the one we saw from like a year ago
No,
with like
no.
the tanks?
No,
There's a
right
new
after-
one? I don't
right
know
after,
anything about any new
Gamescom,
ones.
there
Like,
was
shut
a
the
new
fuck
video
up!
of
I'm
him.
telling you, I don't want to know anything!
I didn't. Other than he's in the game,
I don't want to know
I
anything.
didn't tell you anything.
I literally don't want to know anything.
Other than the
I
game
just want to
exists.
pick up the controller and play the game.
Hey, no,
I'm just
guess
worried
what?
that
the
by-
game has an
I literally
ending.
can't hear anything.
Does it though? That's not confirmed.
Well, I mean, it ends at some point.
It could be a games as a service. It could be never ending.
Let's not even joke about that right now. I have a question. Is it
just
Die
saying.
Hard Man or Die Hardman?
I think it's hard.
It's Mr. Die.
Because the last name is,
Mr.
according to
Hardman.
this, is Hardman, not HARD-MAN.
Yeah,
or
Hardman.
Hardman. It's
Hardman.
Hardman.
Of the
Die
Connecticut
Hardman.
Hardmans.
I just can't wait to hear how they pronounce it.
Of the New England
You know what? I can understand his concerns. I don't necessarily agree with them because I feel like Hideo Kojima is like the one person in the industry who can kind of get away with this kind of stuff because he usually delivers it to some degree.
I mean, yeah,
You know,
I don't- yeah, I mean,
whether
I don't
it's
know
mechanically
about, I don't know
speaking-
that he's the only one. I just know that it's
He's
a
one of the
very,
few.
It's a very delicate line of navigating the balance between like serious and intense and like just fucking stupid and goofy. And I mean, he's terrible at it, but like in a really great way.
He's one of the few people in the industry in which nobody minds that he's not taking his medication like he should.
While Chris Davis is talking.
But that's we're gonna find out in like 2 months. So, or what month is this? What are we in? September?
November.
About 2.5 months. We'll find out. So of course we'll talk about it on the show.
It's got to launch against a direct, strong competitor, though. It's going to launch against that Need for Speed game.
Oh God, I forgot that they're sending that game to die.
Absolutely.
And our last comment tonight comes from Slopdog. He says, this is also Death Stranding related. A little concerned about Kojima's fascination with Hollywood as well. As time goes on, it appears less about him paying homages to how Hollywood has influenced his work and more about working out his movie director fantasies through the video game medium with varying results. True enough, he has a vision, and indeed no one else does what he does for games, but he has made some design choices which make his games more like movies in some aspects. He also subscribes to the cult of celebrity, looking for big names to plaster on his movie poster-esque cover art for Death Stranding. But with any quote-unquote artsy... Oh, sorry. But with any quote-unquote artist with a vision, they always need a staff to make and mold that vision into something that works. Hopefully Kojima's production staff keeps things focused and the gameplay crisp as ever.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really mind him. Like, it's not new that Hideo Kojima's a movie buff. He always has been.
Yeah.
I think just more so lately since he's left Konami.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just gonna watch some really fucking good movies and make friends with actors and maybe put some of them in my games.
He's been let off the leash, like quite literally.
Yeah.
He was kind of at, he was under the umbrella of Konami, so he had to adhere to whatever they thought was appropriate or whatnot. And now we are literally seeing...
Konami was probably like, stop putting fucking, like, why do you like American actors? Stop doing that.
Are you talking to Mads Mikkelsen again? Hang up that phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang up that phone.
And then as soon as you took the leash off and Kojima had free reign, he's like, I'm gonna get every fucking American actor and every single and like, where's Guillermo del Toro from? Mexico? Spain, and the Spanish ones, and I'm gonna put them all in my game. I think he might be Mexican.
I think it's Mexico.
Yeah, probably.
I'm pretty sure
I think it's Mexico. Someone in
Okay.
chat can probably correct us.
Anyway,
I'm sure.
but yeah, I think let Kojima do whatever the fuck he wants. If he wants to put some big movie stars
this
in
will
the
be the
games,
litmus
go for
test,
it.
right?
Why not?
He's off the leash. Let's
Yeah.
see how this turns out. And if this is as wild as it's looking, and it turns out to be a fun game to play, it's just like, yes, leave him off the
Yeah.
leash. Let him do whatever the fuck he
let him
wants.
do it.
If this game kind of bombs, it's going to be kind of like, okay, maybe somebody needs to rein this guy in a little bit. But literally, we're not going to know until the game is in our hands. So, again, we'll talk about it in November, but we appreciate your comments. Again,
I knew Guillermo del Toro was from Mexico.
Again, if there's anything that you want to contribute to our conversations we're about to have starting right now, you can go to 4playernetwork.com, find the post for this episode. It's episode 612, and leave a comment, and we'll read it at the beginning of next week's show. So, let's talk about video games. We do have quite a bit to talk about tonight. We got Control, we got Telling Lies, we got Remnant from the Ashes. So
Rebel Galaxy Outlaw.
Rebel Galaxy Outlaw.
Talk about it last week.
Darksiders.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. Nolan wasn't on the show last week.
No,
it's good to have you back.
I
Nolan.
was downstairs.
You were.
I said, "Let me know when the show's halfway over, and I'll come up and be on it." And they were like, "Yeah, we will," and then they didn't.
You know, that's not entirely a lie.
Didn't you say that you were listening to the show though?
No, I was fucking working.
We didn't want to disturb you.
I was not listening to the show.
We didn't want. You were very busy. We didn't want to disturb you, Nolan. But the important thing is you're here now.
Yeah, I was
so
here
we're going to talk about
too.
video games tonight. Let's start though. Obviously, we like to start with the kind of the new hotness, which is of course
Telling Lies. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that
we can do Control. Let's do Control.
Wait, I can't tell whether you're saying no to.
No.
He just likes to say no. It's Krispy.
I feel like we always shoot our load early.
All right, let's not shoot our load early. Let's talk about Telling Lies.
Let's talk about Telling Lies.
Okay, let's tell some lies,
Nolan,
guys.
Telling sweet little lies.
Tell us some of those sweet lies.
So,
this was kind of like announced and then released, wasn't it? Or
we've known about it for a little while.
They announced it
at least.
I'm thinking of that game, Erica. I think.
Yes, that one was the announcement and all of a sudden release out of nowhere.
I keep getting Erica and Telling Lies confused because they're both live action.
Yeah, correct. Okay. Telling Lies, we've known about it for a while now. But anyway, it's Sam Barlow
yeah.
from Her Story.
Mm-hmm.
I've only played this game for around 3 hours.
Man, that's solid.
That's solitary. You're lying.
I was really
Man.
hardcore confused for a second when this.
What is
started.
this Carlos Mimi bullshit?
So anyway, it's similar to Her Story. You play a character, don't really know too much about the character yet. You have access to this database of almost like NSA-like style. They have some footage that has been captured from, one side of a two-side conversation. Mm-hmm. And so I will say one of the things is when you start the game, like, it didn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, here's how you play the game, guys. It's just like the lady gets out of a cab, goes up some stairs, opens a door, sits at a computer, and then you just control the computer. And so you can just start looking through files and stuff.
This just kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, you see her the whole time.
I did not. So you can. Of course, the game is the computer screen, right? So he's playing solitaire on the screen right now. But I didn't notice it until just a minute ago. You can see her You can see her reflection.
The funny thing is the first time I played this, I was on my laptop in bed, and Bernadette was watching me, and she was like, "What the fuck is that? Like, what are you doing?" Like, because it looks like when you just look at it, it looks like you're on a computer.
Yeah.
And so she thought I was just on the computer, and she's like, "You video chatting with someone?" Like,
you're having a secret rendezvous.
In bed next to your wife. Exactly. Hang on, just a second. No, man, just play solitaire.
And so you can wander around. What's up?
I was gonna say, what would be the coolest thing would be if you had a webcam going and it was doing head tracking on you, so it like reflected the character's doing on what you're doing.
No.
That'd be great.
That's creepy.
Here's the weird thing: is not only do you see them the whole time, you hear what they hear. So there will be like car sirens fucking outside their window, and you'll hear like talking of neighbors, like through the walls. And so one time I was playing, and like I had left the game running just because it's kind of awkward to like leave it, so I just left it going, and I went to use the restroom. And Butters was like with me. He was like sleeping. And like, I guess out of nowhere, like the talking started. And Butters like freaked out because I guess he heard like some guy talking and he thought it was like someone in the house. And he got up and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" And started like wandering around looking for it because I had the volume pretty high on the game. And like I said, the talking of the neighbors, it didn't always happen. It's random. It's sudden, like out of nowhere. All of a sudden you'll hear them talking as if it was real life. And so, even at one point, like, so like I said, if you start wandering around the computer, opening files, you can open the trash can, you can look through the trash, you can find
go
some
through
stuff.
the documents.
Yes, there aren't that many documents though, but what you do find is a 5-page PDF that explains the game. And holy shit, it is not like big text either. Like I spent like 15 minutes reading this PDF.
Is it trying to discourage you from reading it?
Not necessarily, because it is important. It's all facts about how to play the game. And similar to Her Story, you have access to this database of files. You can search through any of the text that's in the files or the file names themselves. And so if someone in one of the files says, "I was walking down the street," it would show up with street. or it would show up with walking. But if you wrote, I was walking, comma, down the street or something like that, if you change it up, it's not the same. It has to be you have to search for the exact syntax.
If you're too specific, you're gonna.
The reason you might need to be specific is similar to her story. When you do a search for something, you only get 5 files.
Yeah.
So if there's like 100 results, you're only going to see the first 5 files.
So it'll never give you more than 5?
Correct. So you kind of have to find those. And so here's the difference in between this and her story. You're always, not always, but most of the time you're looking at one side of a two-sided conversation. But you don't hear the other side. But that file exists somewhere. And so what it's become for me is trying to find context clues in this conversation for me to do another search to find that other conversation.
If you find it, can you like somehow listen to them together?
No. Not to my knowledge, at least. I haven't found a way to do it. But if you look at the timestamps, they'll be the same. So if you see like, someone's doing like some FaceTime or something and it's like 1 minute and 34 seconds and you find some context clues and you find another one that's 1 minute and 34 and you watch it, you realize, oh yeah, these do sync up. I can see they're having that one back and forth conversation. But at one point it was just like, hey, did you open that Valentine's Day present? Blah, blah, blah. And so I started typing on it. I'm like, Valentine's Day present. And like, what is it? And trying all that. And I couldn't find the other fucking side of the conversation. But so what I will say is, by the way, Chris Davis, Solitaire goes on for like 10 minutes.
God damn it.
I was wondering. I was like, how long is it ever going to watch this game of Solitaire?
I do eventually get to some gameplay.
Son of a bitch.
Would you like me to go fast forward it?
Sure.
Okay.
I will say, if you fast forward it, just letting you know, you can't win Solitaire in this game.
Oh, okay.
There's always a missing king. Every single fucking time you play. It's fucking infuriating.
Oh, that is...
I played like 10 rounds trying to finish it. You can't.
Do you think if you beat the game...
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe there's like a lost king. What's up? Yeah, maybe you should have let Chris Davis do it. Oh, dude, at one point, so I'm watching this video file, and then the video file ends, and it kind of zooms out and focuses more on the woman, and there's some guy walking in the background. He's like, oh, hey, I'll leave you alone. And he just like walks off, and I was like, what the fuck was that?
Her roommate.
I guess.
Dude.
I would certainly hope so.
But yeah, so it's kind of one of those things.
Oh my god.
There you go. That was the end. Okay, there we go. Here's some gameplay. I mean, that was gameplay. That is the game. But so it's kind of it's similar to her story. You know nothing. The game doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't give you. There's no like check boxes when you've done something. It's just you have information now.
So how do you know when you've like finished the game?
I haven't finished the game yet. I'm only maybe 4 hours in.
Carlos said there is a like definitive cue.
Okay,
you've gotten an ending.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess until you get there, I don't know.
And apparently, there's 3 endings.
Interesting. So it's just all about me kind of like, taking this context clue and be like, okay, he said this. That's an interesting thing. Let me try and find, what he talked about. And I think in this one, he referred to the person he was like filming as Snow White. And so I was like, ooh, let me highlight Snow White and do a search for that. Find all the footage with Snow White. And I'm like, I see one where he's like clearly some guy looking at like a webcam or something.
So just the driving force of this game it's ultimately like a mystery, right? You're
Correct.
trying to solve a mystery, and that was the same way with her story too.
Correct.
Right? It was kind of like her story wasn't that kind of like an interrogation.
Yes.
So same kind of concept applies here. You're trying to solve a mystery just by pulling context clues from all these different things you're watching.
Correct.
Okay. So can you save and categorize clips into groups and things like that?
So unlike her story, yes, you can bookmark things, bookmark clips in this, and you can like put tags on them.
Okay.
So you can be like, oh, this video I think was important. I'm going to tag it and throw it over here. Honestly, what I've been doing is I just have like an Excel sheet up on a different window because I find that a little bit easier to just be able to like type some stuff in there, and just because otherwise I have to pull up the bookmarks, search through the tags, do this stuff, and I've just been doing that just because I'm old school. But what I will say is I actually stopped playing this because I kind of want to play it with Bernadette. I didn't get too far, but some stuff started kind of appearing that I was like, oh, what? And I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, just like some stuff came to light.
Dude, if I played this with Robin, she would probably she would hijack the whole thing and start playing solitaire, and she would never stop.
I mean, she will because you can't win.
She'll be like, watch me.
Then I'm going to ask, based on one of your most famous clips, did you do the booby search?
There's a booby search?
No, I did not. When I played her story, the first thing I did was I started searching for like boobies and other things like that.
Did you find anything?
No. I don't remember. I think something.
You did the ASCII movies.
ASCII boopy. That is right, man. It's been a while since it
pulled up results.
Yeah, it did come up with results.
One thing I want to point out here, since now that we're watching some of these videos that you're scrolling through, like there's some pretty high profile names in here.
Oh,
too.
no,
like,
definitely.
I can't remember his name, but I recognize him. He's
and
the
there's
dude.
That one girl from Westworld.
Yes.
And this guy.
The guy from what was he was in
and
where he's
girl.
like the super high functioning like assassin. Oh God, what?
Huh?
What is that movie that just came out where he's like they have the chip in his head and like makes him like a fucking like kung fu expert? Upgrade. Yes,
Yeah.
he's the guy from Upgrade.
Thank
you.
Upgrade
Prince
the
of the
Pimp?
Universe.
No, not Upgrade with 2 Ds for a double dose of pimp and flavor.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the movie Upgrade.
Oh, okay.
That was basically the same plot as the movie Venom, but like way better.
Or as
Gotcha.
Gamerbeck puts it, bootleg Tom Hardy.
He is bootleg Tom Hardy. But yeah, so one of the cool things about this game is you can scrub through the video. So if you caught something or want to rewind or you want to fast forward, you can just quickly do it, which makes it easier. Because while you can just type in the words, you can highlight things that you see. Like I saw like Green Storm, and I was like, what's Green Storm? Or this one, he said like flipping or something like that. So I tried to find another one that was, like I said, I was trying to find conversations.
Yeah.
But honestly, this footage is very early on. And so like honestly, at this point, I had no idea what was going on. I don't know any of these people's names yet.
On a boat?
Yeah, they're on a boat.
You just solved the mystery,
Exactly.
Crispy.
The boat has a name. I forget what it is. It's in my Excel file. I could literally pull up my Excel file and I have like blah blah blah, like boat name. And so, dude, yeah, I literally just have this file of me like, here's names that are important, like corporations or companies. Because what I've found is that this guy, without spoiling, I mean, it seems like it's a pretty big like through plot that you find out pretty early if you do like 2 searches. It seems to be trying to infiltrate a organization who is trying to stop the spread of a natural gas pipeline. So they're trying to expand this natural gas pipeline.
And they want to stop it.
And they're trying to stop it.
Gotcha.
He is posing like he's one of them, but he's actually infiltrating them. For what? I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to find out. I don't know what he's trying to solve.
So it's almost like a political
maybe
thriller.
Well, that one dude was...
So
FBI sealed.
He did, yes.
So you're going through conversations and subtitles and things like that. What about visual clues?
So I haven't found too many visual clues that I have been looking for it.
We were able to figure out he was on a boat.
Yeah,
by looking at the video.
I will say that I have tried to see things in the background and stuff, but I will say that most of like the footage isn't like super high quality, and or I haven't seen anything. Yeah, like Crispy said, besides like the FBI seal, which gave away that he was clearly an FBI agent. Besides that, there hasn't been too much in the background as of yet. I will say there seem to be like quite a number of hours of footage in this game. Like you're not like it's like, oh, here's a 30-second file. Oh yeah, no, it's like here's like a 5-minute file. Here's like this long ass fucking conversation. And so I mean there is like huge chunks, but I will say also most of it is like stationary stuff, so it's not like they're moving and you see too much. As of yet, like I said, I've only played it for like 3 hours, maybe.
And you've started to see glimpses of things that make you think this would be a good thing to play as like a couple.
Well, mainly because Bernadette and I played her story together. Yeah, and I think it's just one of those things where it's almost like you're watching a TV show, but you're trying to everything's out of order. It's like fucking Memento, but even more confusing, and you just don't really know what's going on. And every video you watch either gives you more information or gives you nothing. And so like I said, it's just become this kind of mystery, and I'm trying to solve it. And I just feel like Bernadette would probably enjoy trying to solve it with me. So that's why I was gonna say because she's out of town right now for work, and so she's come back tomorrow. So maybe this weekend, it's a long weekend. Maybe we'll play.
How long was her story?
I don't remember.
It was like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
So you already played this for like 4 hours, and you're not really. Do you get the sense that you're like close to the end of it?
I have no idea. Yeah. Not really. Like I said, I don't really know what's going on. I have some clues, but they're definitely. I've done searches and found like multiple like 5-10 minute files in length that I haven't even watched yet. Just because it's like, oh, let me like remember to look this up later, and I just haven't gotten back to it yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know if anybody in chat can tell. I mean, we can look up. There's our website. How long to take to beat
How
things.
long to beat?
Yeah.
So yeah, this looks pretty dope. This is PC only, or is it on PS4 too?
I cannot confirm or deny either of those things.
Oh.
It is on PC.
Yeah, I definitely. Sorry, yes, I do know it is on PC.
I would like to play this a lot.
You played it.
This confirmed. All right. Is there anything else you want to say about this right now? We'll probably follow back up with you because I'm assuming you're going to finish it.
No, yeah, I'll definitely finish it. I'm sure I probably would have, in all honesty, before Bernadette got back if I didn't want to just wait for her to play
this is something that Carlos was telling me about, and he was saying that like he kind of like had to figure out the most efficient way to scrub through information, because the way the keyword system works is when you type in a keyword and it pulls up a video, when you start playing the video, it takes you to that part of the video where the keyword is spoken. So if you've got like a 5-10 minute video
and they don't say that word until
and it just drops you in the middle of the video,
so sometimes you
have to go all the way back to the beginning. And he was saying that like it's so slow and like takes so long to scrub through some of them sometimes, that like he was getting the sense that the game doesn't even really want you to do that. It just wants you to like find the little slice of what you're looking for and then move on, because something else is going to pull you back to that other part of the video.
In all honesty, it kind of does say that in that PDF. It's like, hey, just if you're looking for something, find it, watch it, and then move on. Like, it does kind of tell you that, but I've been ignoring it just because I'm trying to get I want to get the full experience. Yeah. And so this is where I found out this guy's name. This is in this video. I was like, oh, his name's David, because I see his name tag. So I guess that is Chris Davis. That is the case, and then I can see that her name's Ava.
What if they're lying?
That's true.
David's such a common name. Exactly. Maybe it's all bullshit.
Right.
It's possible.
What if it's
his name is David? Yeah, right.
Yeah. But like I said, I definitely will finish it. I don't know how much more I can say about it, because it might get to the point where like everything I have left to say is just kind of spoiling the game. Yeah. But I've been enjoying it a lot so far. Awesome. It's kind of one of those things. It's just solving that mystery. It's just you get that itch to be like, oh, I get a little more information. What else can I find out? Like, they talked about like, yeah, because you did that, and I'm like, what did he do? And I'm like trying to figure out, like, they'll mention a name, and I can't find anything about this name. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Maybe I'll try and convince Robin to play. I've been looking for. I missed the boat trying to like being able to play like Oberdin with Robin, and now I'm like been waiting for that.
Why'd you miss the boat?
Like because I played like half of it, and before I started it while she was out of town, and then when she came back,
story?
You just finished. I did not play her.
Play her story with her.
Play her story. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm a monster for not having played Her Story.
That's a great game. You're not necessarily a monster for not having played it, but I'm just saying if you want to play a game that's like this with Robin, Her Story is a great one to play.
That was like my second or third game of that.
I know. Everyone else. That's one of those. It's one of those games that everyone else played and loved, and I just didn't touch for whatever reason.
Little jerk.
I know.
But yeah, that's Telling Lies. I think it's like $20.
That's affordable.
Yeah, not too expensive, which is surprising for like how much quality footage they have of like not big name, but larger name people.
Yeah, I mean they didn't just find voice actors and hope that they can also like act.
Yeah, because it is acting. Don't be wrong. There's been a couple of scenes where it's like, oh, okay, acting there. Okay, but there's been some that are pretty good.
Cool.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
All right. So. Can we blow our load yet?
Control.
Blow the load.
All right,
Nick.
let's talk about Control for a few minutes here.
Yeah.
This was the big release. Yes.
The new slideshow from Remedy Games.
Oh, no.
I'm joking.
So, Krispy and I have been playing it. You're not playing it, Chris Davis, right?
Not yet.
You or Nolan haven't started it? Okay.
Not yet.
So, this is the new game from Remedy. You may know them as the guys that made Max Payne, the guys that made Alan Wake, Quantum Break recently, which is tragically underrated. I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
I think... Okay.
Speak.
I liked Quantum Break. I had a lot of fun while I was playing it. I feel like it had a little too much flash, not enough substance, and the whole thing just kind of ran through me.
Okay.
Is my mic okay?
I don't know. I'm sorry. If I'm making you paranoid, I do check every once in a while.
But anyway,
I think the reception of Quantum Break was kind of appropriate for that game.
I think that game is like the closest in terms of comparing other Remedy games to Control. I think Quantum Break is the closest. It kind of feels the most like in that same wheelhouse, and it feels like a direct evolution of some ideas and some systems they were playing with in Quantum Break. And I think Control is like way better.
Oh yeah,
like way better.
Don't get me wrong. I only say like I feel like Quantum Break is underrated because of the fact that like a lot of people just completely skipped it altogether.
Sure.
And Remedy is one of those studios that like they don't make a ton of games, but the games that they do are almost all good and definitely worth playing for one reason or another. And Quantum Break is no different. And Quantum Break was very ambitious too, just in terms of like some of the stuff they tried to do with the way they told stories, which is kind of similar to Hearst. They were actually like
they do have this like predilection for like FMV stuff for like they want a very cinematic experience, and I mean that was in Alan Wake too, to a certain extent.
To an extent, yeah.
And like.
There's always some component of their games that features some kind of live action component. And
I think they let that impulse get away from them with Quantum Break. And I think it hurt that game. And I think them getting that back under control for this game. I said the word. Oh my god. I think them getting a handle on that for this game helped it immensely.
True.
Because I do think that FMV stuff that they have in the game, like the Dr. Darling videos and everything, are really like charming and really great. And it's like really fun finding a new one.
They're like the episodes of Night Springs in Alan Wake.
Right. But it's not like this thing I have to stop and pay attention to for half an hour.
Like you're right. Like that was probably more of a miss than anything with Quantum Break.
Chapters of the game.
Yeah, because Quantum Break, it was like episodes of TV show.
I was looking up Control because that actress looked familiar, and I saw someone who I didn't know was in this game.
Oh yeah.
Whom?
I don't know if it's like a secret or something.
Maybe the cameo.
I don't know if it's a cameo. I just know I saw them.
Does it start with an H?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But no, I'm not going to spoil it because if you haven't seen it, I wouldn't want you to.
Have I not seen it?
Probably not. Based on your reaction, there is a cameo.
But is it somebody I would know who it is?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Hauser. Okay.
For sure.
Moving on.
But anyways, with Quantum Break, like I thought they maybe took it a little bit too far in one direction, but it was also still a really cool idea and a cool thing to experiment with. But like they have reined it back in this game quite a bit, and they've kind of returned to their the formula that works well for them, which is like making like a really beautiful like atmospheric game, and then squeezing in like these like really clever like FMV sequences and like usually on TV screens or projectors and whatnot, which is works out really well.
Okay, question. How far along are you in the game at this point?
At this point, I recorded this last night, probably when I was about the 10-hour mark.
But this area he's in is an early game.
It's like a hub.
So
okay.
yeah, but I intentionally.
No, so that like area he walked over is called a control point. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
First of all, if you weren't aware, this game is like, it's a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a Metroidvania. You're like going through this whole house, and those control points are like your save rooms, your bonfires, your fast travel.
So the one thing is, I've seen the word Metroidvania thrown around a lot, and I do agree with it. And I, when I first heard this described as a Metroidvania, I perked up. But the difference being, or at least so far, and I'm not sure if your mic just died.
I don't think his mic died so much as he's not talking into his mic. You were definitely talking right past it.
All right. Sorry.
Boom. Because I can't get the mic.
Okay. Anyways.
There you go.
When I first heard Metroidvania used to describe this game, I immediately thought of certain things, right? We've all played tons of Metroidvania here. The thing that I think differentiates this game and maybe distances it a little bit from it being a Metroidvania is that a lot of the things that like block you off from going to new areas are not hidden behind areas or like things like abilities that you use, but like clearance cards that you find.
Yeah,
which is kind of a missed opportunity.
So it's like Metal Gear Solid.
There was it's a little bit more like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
There's one thing there's one place I got to yesterday.
I don't know. Then okay, fine. We don't have an appropriate enough word to describe.
You're right. It is
it's not really an
Metroidvania.
open world game, but like the whole point, like the whole structure of the game is about exploring one big contiguous space that you're like backtracking and finding new ways through.
And that's why
it's not power driven necessarily. Although there are some instances where like you need to have like the float ability or something to move into this new area.
Yeah.
But there's an equal amount of like story stoppage.
Yeah.
Or like so the whole like idea of the house is that it is this almost infinitely like complex structure where like the space changes and things shift
like
around.
Harry Potter?
It's more than that. It's like
definitely more than
that. Way more than that. Like this is their base of operations, and they still have like entire teams whose whole job it is to just explore uncharted parts of the house.
It's actually really cool because like when you start to like dig into like the lore and stuff, you start to find out more about the oldest house, which is what it's called. It's actually, there's some pretty interesting stuff in there, but you actually like learn like about like, so this is, you know, a government agency that focuses on finding like paranormal items or paranormal objects that like exist outside of the rule of law in the world or whatever, and they bring it back and they study them, right? But like, this base of operations is literally one of those things that they found, and they just kind of like,
first thing.
Yeah, they found it and they were just like, this is crazy. We're gonna make it our headquarters. So, but they don't even understand it fully.
So the control points are like the ley lines of harmonic energy or whatever that like keep the house kind of in one shape.
Yeah.
You know? So as things are like fucking up and going wrong, they're losing control points, they're being corrupted by the antagonistic force of the game, which is called the hiss.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. The hiss. And
it's very Hideo Kojima of him.
So like you'll go into areas where like everything will be all fucking like, I mean, it'll be what's the word I'm thinking of? It's all like
out of control.
Fractured. Shut the fuck up. It's all fucking you fucking asshole. It's all fractured and like fractaled and everything.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Doctor Strange or something.
Oh,
sure, okay, yeah. The
mirror,
mirror realm.
So then you find the control point and you cleanse it, and then everything kind of goes back to its normal shape. But there will be like new areas you can't get behind because like the hallway is just fucked up, you know? And you have to like get to a point in the story where it opens up again. You know? So it's not a pure Metroidvania, but it's more, I guess like Metal Gear Solid is a good comparison, or Metal Gear Solid 2, you know?
Is there like a lot of non-Euclidean architecture in here?
So it's funny you mentioned that. One of the first things that happens in this game, like when you first arrive, the character arrives in the place and you're walking around, led me to think that there was going to be a lot more of that kind of stuff going. And don't get me wrong, there are places where you do that, but like you're literally walking down a hallway in the very beginning, and like I was walking, and I went into a room, and then I came back out of the room, and then I turned to look down the hallway I just walked down, and the hallway was gone. And I was like,
so like the whole thing is like you're walking around a conference room, and as you're walking around it and you look at it for more than a second, you realize there's like no door to it. There's no way to actually get into the room, and when you come around, like the hallway configuration is completely different behind you, and it just like dumps you back out where you came. And it's all based around this character, the fucking janitor, who's probably like the devil. I don't know. What
you
the
play
fuck
a janitor?
No, but you meet
you play a janitor's assistant.
Yeah,
Who
also happens to be the director of the agency now.
Well, the director of the agency is the janitor's assistant.
Yes. And that for those who aren't aware, like the story of this game is, she shows up. She's trying to find her brother. And I'm not going to go into details of what happens there, but she finally comes to this place. She walks in the door. And she finds out very shortly after she gets here that the director of this agency is dead. Mm-hmm. And she picks up his service weapon, his gun, and whoever picks up that gun becomes the next director.
Gotcha.
Well,
so
they have to
there are
like
some
how you
caveats
become a
to
US
that. It's a little
they
bit
have to be
deeper than that.
interviewed by the board.
Yeah, and the janitor apparently.
So it's her job to clean this place up?
Yeah,
kind of. And she kind of just like falls into this role.
There's a side mission where like, so the janitor is like a really creepy, weird guy that like breaks the fourth wall and is like just really fucking weird.
It's kind of like a G-Man thing or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, kind of. I don't know. Like the part that we were talking about where you're doing that like loop in the weird hallway.
Yeah,
is when you first meet him, and Jessie, the main character, like narrates the game too. She's like talking over shit, and she's like, "Oh, that's just so and so. He's a friendly face. Don't worry about him." And then he's like responding to her while she's like talking to the audience or to the other thing.
Yeah, there's a whole other layer.
I honestly like I hope that they wrap this up in like an interesting way, because like some of the writing is a little sloppy. I don't care for like her character motivation at all. Like the whole inciting incident as to like why she's here, it just kind of like keeps changing. Like it's fucking dream logic or something. Like she'll just like mention something out of nowhere, like you're supposed to know what that is.
Have you found out about the event about her brother?
I've heard her explain it to somebody.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true or what or anything.
That was the first time where I felt any kind of clarity as to.
But like her whole thing is like she gets there and she's like, "I'm looking for my brother. My brother was taken by the agency."
Batman?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Yeah. And she's like pissed, and she makes you think that she's acting like the agency's like evil, and she like wants to get in there and find her brother because they kidnapped him. And then you're in there for like an hour, and she's like, well, yeah, I want to find my brother, but I really want to be a part of this world. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
She gets like real fucking like into the job and like doesn't care about the brother, and you forget about the brother, and then she'll like ask about the brother, and everyone's kind of like, don't talk about the brother, we'll just keep doing the job. And she's like, cool. And like it's
kind of all over the place.
I recognize that I'm still early in the game and they might be going somewhere with this, but I suspect that they're not, and that kind of like has me worried. But I mean, other than that, it's still really fun.
So hold on. So taking a step back, I don't know too much about Control. I remember seeing that original footage that we watched. What was that, E3?
Yeah.
When they announced it, so I remember watching that footage, and I remember like, oh, this game seems interesting. Didn't really see much about it since then. Why can she like use telekinesis?
So okay.
I don't even know if we should tell you.
Okay,
that's like a thing that she like the whole like she's really cagey about it for a while. In the game, and she's like, she'll be talking and you think she's talking to you, like the player, and then she'll be like, oh, I can't tell them about you yet, or like, oh, you always know how to help me, like, and then at a certain point she's having the heart-to-heart with somebody about her brother, and she explains what it is she's talking about, and I still don't understand the full implication of that. And something else just popped up in the story that seems like it might be a similar thing, like device that's affecting another character. So like I don't know that we should tell you.
Gotcha.
Why
I one thing we can tell you, which I don't think is a spoiler, is like kind of the conceit behind the powers that you use. Is the whole, like I said, the whole point of the agency that is the center of this game is they go out around the world and they find items that are supernatural in some sense.
It's SCP Foundation.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, it is that.
This was explained to me last night for the first time because I'd never heard of this.
Yeah.
So that is
you have. We played SCP.
Yeah, sorry. I had heard of it before. I completely blanked it out and forgot about it. So, but yes, that is exactly what it is. But like all of her powers stem from these objects that you find they've brought back to study, and when you find them and touch them, they like imbue her with these powers.
Yeah. So like, there's this whole like astral plane, like metaphysical space that's somehow connected to all this, and the agency investigates what they call AWEs, like altered world events that create mundane objects that have like really weird physics defying properties.
Yeah, like there's like a rubber duck that does some like horrible shit. Yeah, I don't.
Does it?
I mean, no. I mean, there's.
Are you spoiling me?
No.
Because I don't know what the rubber duck does.
No. I don't remember what the rubber duck does specifically, but there's a lot of.
He makes bad time lots of fun.
There's shit that like comes straight, like, dude, that sounds like it came straight off of the SCP wiki. Like the item that gives you the ability to pull up those shields is a safe that like somebody found in their basement in Ohio, and like went on Reddit to one of those like, hey, I found a weird safe, and everyone's like, open it up, and he like tries to open it and he can't open it, and like gets to the point where he like blows it up and it doesn't do anything to it, and then the bureau goes and takes possession of it, and they just talk about how like they can't open it, but like blood seeps out of it sometimes, and when they x-ray it, there's something in there, but it's all blurry, like it's moving around.
Yeah, like weird shit like
that's
that.
It. Like,
but there's also like lots of items that you find out about that you never really come into contact with or do anything with mechanically in the game. But like there's all kinds of crazy shit that you find, like weird stories about.
Did they keep the refrigerator? The killer refrigerator?
I haven't seen the refrigerator. It has to be in there.
No.
So I know there's a containment area that I haven't been to.
Wait, so do you have more powers than just telekinesis?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
okay. I mean, yeah, they're all some form
they're all kind of praxis applications of telekinesis.
Like, and a lot of it involves, so mechanically speaking, we haven't talked much about combat, but like, you're the two main
service weapon.
You have a service weapon, which is you only have one gun in the game, but it changes shapes, and you upgrade those shapes, and you mod it, and you find all these things in the environment that let you upgrade it and stuff throughout the game. That eventually boils down to the gun has skill trees.
The upgrade materials are like fucking wild.
Yeah,
because they're not like regular materials. It's like invasive patterns, and like I don't even remember what all the shit is like. Just weird
descriptive things that you're just like that doesn't sound like a thing I could use, but I guess that's what they used to upgrade it.
But like you kill these things that are like fracturing reality, and they drop weird bits of reality. I don't know. But like the whole, I don't know, like I'm really into it. I'm really into like the feel and the look of this game, and I was kind of prepared to be like a little over the whole 60s American like espionage to intelligence agency aesthetic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everything in this building, like the office,
tape decks and things
looks
like that.
like it's from the 60s, and it's like that's fucking stupid because the game obviously takes place in 2019. But then they like go out of their way to be like, oh no, it's cool because we can't have Wi-Fi or anything in here because then all our computers would murder us. Like they have reasons for operating in such low.
Also, aesthetically speaking,
it does look cool.
Yeah, it looks amazing, but like it's kind of building off what you said about you thought you were over the setting, but like what is it? I find the itch is scratching for me. Do you remember the Bureau?
The Bureau, yeah,
and how that game sucked.
This is like what the Bureau could have been.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
If you were ever excited to play the Bureau or XCOM the Bureau, this is like what it should have been.
Yeah, it feels like that aesthetic mixed with Inside.
Yeah,
yeah,
it does.
It looks fucking
interesting.
Cool.
So
it looks really.
I actually, I went to Discord the other day. I had this like really big like crisis where I was like, cause I pre-ordered it on PS4, and then of course I found out it has a lot of performance issues on PS4, like to the point where like frames are in like the low teens, especially during combat sequences where shit's getting crazy. And I was like, I love Remedy, I love the studio, I'm super excited for this game. Like I would hate to like have that be define my experience. So I decided to, at the last second, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it on PC, and I'll figure out. I might just return the PS4 version later. So I'm playing it on PC, and it runs like a fucking dream.
That's good.
The footage that I recorded looks a little choppy, but that's I think just a setting for my recording. It's not really doing that for me when I'm actually playing. But on PC, the game runs like a dream. PS4 and Xbox One, especially if you have the older version of the consoles, have some serious performance issues. Nothing that I think has stopped people like critics from actually like playing and enjoying the game. Like obviously it's getting good scores, but every single one of them has mentioned,
Well, that's like what I would say about Dragon Quest Builders too. While it hasn't stopped me from playing the game, when it often dips into like the low teens, it gets frustrating.
Yeah. This is like way more pervasive.
Especially if you're playing on the
Dragon
OG.
Quest Builders will like sometimes dip when there's like too much shit going on, like if there's a bunch of monsters or something on screen. But like this is, you walk into a room that has different lighting, and it's like trying to keep up.
Mr. Green Toast in chat says performance issues on base PS4s, not PS4 Pro, and that's actually wrong. There are definitely dips. There are definitely dips in frame rate.
It's not quite as bad on the Pro, but it's bad.
Yeah, you should. The Digital Foundry has released their analysis of it, and it definitely drops instead of dropping into the low teens, it drops into like the high 20s low 20s.
The Digital Foundry video, they just said that even on the PS4 Pro, this game's out of control.
Oh my god, no.
It's like honestly the best platform for console is like the Xbox One X.
And to be honest, I probably could have played it on the Pro and been fine, but I just I made the weird decision of buying it twice. I guess I haven't decided.
I did too, and I'm pissed because I got the PS4 version for $10 off, and now I'm thinking that's why they did that.
Wait, did you get it on Amazon?
I did.
Did you open it yet?
No.
You can return it.
You can return it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I already did return it.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. So I'm in the same boat, but you know what? All of that aside, like the game itself is pretty fucking dope, and the combat is like
it's really good.
Really good.
Okay.
When it works.
Like the powers and the guns, like when you're like fucking throwing shit around and pulling up shields and like catching rockets out of the air and throwing them back at people, like it feels really good. All the guns feel really satisfying.
But
I feel like I'm super fragile.
Yeah. No, thank you for mentioning that, because I did want to I didn't want to say that. Like,
and
I've died
it
a
wouldn't
lot.
It wouldn't be such a big deal if you just like died and then reloaded and you're back in.
Yeah.
But like reloading takes so fucking long.
You're right.
And like there's some boss fights I've had to do like 8 times.
Yes. That is one thing I almost forgot to mention. Thank you. Like I have died in this game way more than I thought I was going to. Like I die in this game a lot.
I mean, it's like every time you encounter a new enemy type, like they're gonna kill you.
And it's not necessarily because I think the game is hard. I just think, like you said, I think she's very fragile, to the point where I would almost recommend focusing entirely on boosting her health first before anything, like all the way up to the max before you do anything else.
I've been doing that too, but like upgrading the throw, like energy usage and throw damage has been worth it for me as well. So, try not to focus solely on health, but it does make it is a little like disappointing where like I'm selecting all my mods and I'm selecting my upgrades based purely on like I just need all the health I can get, and not like what sounds fun, you know.
That is very true. So that's one of those things I kind of wish they would tweak a little bit, just because, man, I'm playing Sekiro and I went from that to this hoping like, oh, this would be a little bit more of a casual, less stressful experience, and of course it is a less stressful experience, but like, man, I did not expect to die like 50 times in this fucking game, and that's not even an exaggeration. I've probably died 50 times at least already. It's pretty crazy.
Pretty cool.
But the game is pretty rad. Really, it's pretty rad. I'm very much looking forward to finishing this game, because it's kind of unlike anything I've ever played in terms of like. I'm
way more into this than I was Quantum Break, so
it definitely feels it like a
step up.
It is a step up. It is just like it is a concept seen through to its like, you know, full potential. I think, even if maybe at the end, I'm not sure how the story's gonna ultimately pan out, but like when you're in this world, like you are in it. It feels like there's very little to distract you from it. It is like super. It is all around you, and it feels awesome. There was one other thing I was going to mention about it, and I can't recall. So if I remember it later,
have you gotten any other costumes?
No, I haven't.
Because I've seen that's an option.
Somebody said there's a pre-order bonus. But I don't know.
Do the costumes do anything?
I'm assuming
Does, like the character control different?
I don't think so.
God damn it, Nolan.
I just don't really care for her civilian look.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you unlock them yet, but
the mod scene will take care of that.
Sure.
It's like you're the director. You should dress a little more professionally.
One thing that was really cool is like as soon as you become the director, like the office building is like littered with all these like portraits of the director all over the place. As soon as she picks up the gun and like becomes a director, you walk out of that room, like all the portraits are pictures of her.
Oh, are they? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, if you look, there's pictures of her everywhere
that's
now.
That's fucking cool.
It's crazy.
Oh, dude, how cool!
There's
a lot of really cool places. Oh my god, the hotel and casino thing is so fucking cool. I love that. I like the hotline chamber is like that. God, yeah, this has that like inside thing where like you can literally just take like any shot of this game and like hang it up and be like, it's art. Look at it. This place is beautiful. It's so good
for such a sterile environment. It is like ridiculously beautiful. But yeah, we'll talk more about it, I'm sure, next week or something after we've. I'm hoping to finish it this weekend, so we'll talk more about it in the future. But we do have a few more games to discuss, and actually one that I've been really interested in, but I've been hesitant to pick up and play myself.
Which?
So Chris Davis has been playing Remnant
from the Ashes.
From the Ashes, yes. And actually, there's been a few people in our Discord. I know Mr. Runtos is a pretty big proponent of this game so far. So, what the hell is Remnant from the Ashes? Because it's been very confusing. This is, strangely enough, the game I'm going to talk about after this. At the end, is going to be the game that the same studio made before this.
That's Gunfire.
This is a Gunfire game.
Made here in Austin, actually.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they were here in Austin.
Yeah.
All right, tell us about Remnant from the Ashes.
Remnant from the Ashes is a single-player or up to 3-player cooperative roguelike Dark Souls shooter.
And you're playing it with friends or solo?
I'm playing it. Well, in this footage, I've been playing with some friends. But I started out the game the first like 3 or 4 hours. I was playing alone.
And is it a viable experience to play alone?
Yeah. In fact, you'll find that. So a lot of people are calling this more of a shooter than anything else. You'll see a shit ton of shooting. But that's because it's actually kind of warranted when you're playing co-op because it scales the enemies in the environment.
Yeah.
And you'll see, I will take like one hit from a couple enemies. I will almost nearly go down.
So, but what aspect of this makes you even draw the? I feel like when anybody makes a Dark Souls comparison at this point, I feel like it has to be kind of.
Well, let me hit the highlights for you. Okay. You've got, that spear like took me half health. Shit. So, you have fog wall doors for bosses.
Okay.
You have bonfire checkpoint world stones.
Okay.
That allow you to fast travel across the world.
Do you collect experience though when you?
You collect experience
so it's an RPG.
While you're playing. It's an RPG. There are you're going back to a hub world where you're meeting with compatriots and they are upgrading your equipment with items that you get from bosses and enemies.
Okay.
Your main form of healing is a quote-unquote dragon heart, which is actually just a Estus flask that you have to refill when you go up to a... you either die, or if you go up to a world stone. Mm-hmm. And when you go to those world stones and you rest, you refill your health and ammo, and all the enemies respawn.
Okay, so yes, there are definitely
very fucking Dark Souls.
Yes, there are definitely some Dark Souls comparisons to be made. This has just been one of those games that like I've been watching from afar, and somebody said last week, I think maybe it was Greg, who was talking about they thought it'd be a great game for Krispy, and I think that was because there are some elements of it that too are like, I don't know, like Destiny-like or.
I don't know about Destiny-like. Considering I haven't played that much Destiny, to be honest. I will say that the rogue elements of this game are pretty fucking interesting.
Okay.
Because when you start a game with a character, first off, you have to choose between one of 3 different classes to play as. I'm playing as the ex-cultist, who is more of a mid-range balanced character for mid-range weaponry and some melee. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm running with a pistol right there, and I've got a shotgun as my secondary, but my melee weapon is like a big pipe with a saw blade on it.
Nice.
I can dig it.
But yeah, when you start up a game, you're not going to you're going into a campaign, but you're going into a seed of a campaign. And every time you go into a new zone of a world,
fucking gross,
Nolan. You
it's
are
just the remnants of it, Krispy.
God damn it,
man!
Nolan
is just like on a roll tonight, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
When you go into a zone for the first time, it loads up and randomizes level structure, enemy placement, items you can find, chests, almost everything you can possibly imagine.
I love how he has to roll through the window. He can't just jump through it.
That's one of the kind of charming things about this game is that the animations are kind of exaggerated, and that there's almost no animation cancellations. So like if you get stunned, like you go through a fucking whole animation. But it's actually kind of nice to watch.
Except when it happens like 50 times, probably.
I mean, yeah, if you're getting, stormed by a bunch of enemies, like, it can be a pain in the ass, but visually it's entertaining. So this is one of the worlds. It's called ROM. It is so the idea behind the lore of this game is that it's the post-apocalypse. It's been about 100 years since the world ended. The world was invaded by a creature from another dimension called the Root, and it subjugated Earth. And all the enemies are like demonic, like tree monsters. Like they're all made out of wood in a way.
They're all made out of wood, and they're wearing these creepy masks made of bone.
Is that why it starts with a seed?
Well, you could
probably.
Yeah. Okay, you can go with that.
An acorn.
Did you say an acorn?
But using the world stones that you have access to, you can travel to different realms that have already been conquered by the Root. This is the second world you find, ROM.
When you say world, these are not like on Earth? Or?
Yeah, like another dimension.
Oh.
The Root is conquered.
Gotcha.
That was an element of environmental puzzle solving right there.
Yeah, so you're stepping on the pressure plates. And
I had to stay in a spot to activate the button, and then they had to go on the pressure plates and figure out just where to go. And every time they fucked up, it spawned these, not mini bosses per se, but like harder enemies.
So how would you do that if you were playing solo?
I don't know. That's a fucking good question.
The answer? You wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's the thing, though. Because we solved this puzzle, we got access to this secret room, which allowed us to buy some really fucking good armor.
Okay.
Which have skill set bonuses. The more you wear of the armor, the better the bonus.
Gotcha. You mean the more you wear of a certain
the more
type
pieces of the armor set.
Gotcha.
And so you're only consisting of like a, head armor, chest armor, and leg armor. But everything, you're never going to have to worry about like finding low level shit when you're playing the game. Everything scales to your existing level or goes a little bit just higher.
That's nice, because one thing I didn't mention about control is I am just like inundated with like mods that are like level 1, and like I need some like level 5 shit. Come on.
Like, you really don't have to worry about this game, but again, you have to realize
Dismantle.
I do. But like, you have to, every once in a while you have to stop and go through all of, like, find all the, like, I'm just gonna like dismantle everything that's below level 4, which takes fucking forever.
Yeah, but you're not really dismantling stuff in this. There's really,
is that one of the bonfires?
Yeah, that's one of the world stones. So there are world stones like those that are base checkpoints, and then there's like the actual like broken up crystal versions of those that are just checkpoints.
Gotcha.
And another nice quality of life thing about this game is that you will always have a checkpoint directly before a boss fight. And it's not a case of like you have to walk like 5 minutes to get back to it. It's like you walk 10 seconds and then you're there.
Because let me tell you, playing Sekiro right now, that can suck sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, here we go. We got a boss fight with a fog wall. This is flying enemy that shoots acid, and then he spawns these.
It's a flying butthole.
He spawns these skulls that kind of charge at you and shoot like lasers and shit at you. The boss fights in this game, another really cool thing about them is that at least for everyone that I've encountered so far, there has been an alternate way to defeat them.
As opposed to like what they just like present you with.
Yeah, which just like whittle down their health until they fucking die. They die. So,
yeah. Are you talking about like there's like things in the environment that you can
There are things in the environment. There's ways you can engage the boss that give you well, let me give you one example. So we spent like 45 minutes on a boss trying to get to its alternate death condition. It was a guy called the Hollow. It was like this 2-meter tall zombie, and he had like a bunch of spears in the back of him. What you could do is if you shot it in the legs enough to whittle down its health, and you got it to go into a stun state 3 times, you could climb on its back and pull out one of the spears, and that could be one of your victory items, which you can go take back to your base, and you can get a special item out of it, whether it be a weapon or a piece of armor.
That's pretty cool. But just taking the spear out do like a bunch of damage?
Yeah, it will do some damage. Yeah. But that's
but like
every cool things about this game.
Every boss has something kind of like that.
Yes,
consistently,
including this one. I don't know what we didn't know what it was for this one.
It's like Chasm, where it's like if you defeat any of the bosses without taking damage, you get like a special weapon, kind of like it's like the secret thing. You don't have to get it.
I never got those.
Yeah, if you put in the extra effort and you do it in a different way, you get rewarded for it. Kind of. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like you get like if you are able to figure out how to get it, because you said like that one you have to take out the spear or whatever. I'm assuming
like, how did you figure out about how did you know about the spear thing?
So my friends here had been playing for a lot longer than I had. So they joined in my game, and we got into that boss encounter.
If you pull that thread and you follow it back far enough, it's someone who looked it up on the internet.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, yeah,
and then disseminated the information.
Pretty much.
Eventually, everyone knows.
There's also all sorts of stat poison and things like that, like radiation and just basic poison. Like, boom, I just got like fucking lit up with radiation. That's going to drain the shit out of my health later. I mean, it's very fucking inspired by From Software.
How long have you been playing this?
At this point, I've probably put about 6-7 hours into it. I would like to say I'd played more, but I haven't had much time.
There's damage numbers.
Yeah,
I didn't notice the damage numbers.
Oh yeah, damage numbers, and based on there's also crits for damage, and there's also headshot damage. So like you're doing a lot more. It's also based on the range which you're attacking your enemy versus and the type of weapon. Like there's a lot of stats-driven stuff in this game.
Huh. This is cool. I mean, like I said, there's a few people in our Discord specifically who have been kind of championing this game since it launched, and I'm interested in playing it. I've just never quite been sure what it is or whether it's something that I can consider playing by myself. I'm still not sure if like this is ultimately going to end up being a game that anyone would recommend playing from start to finish solo. I know it's possible, but most people that I've talked to or heard from in Discord have said that like while it's doable, it's probably not the most enjoyable experience to play solo.
I mean, I would probably agree with that. I would say it's perfectly viable in single player in the time that I was doing it alone.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty cool. So I went to an area on Earth called it was a sewer area basically. And as I was going through it, about halfway through that area, I'd encountered several new enemies that I hadn't seen before. And then I started hearing like some clanking behind me somewhere way back in the map. I didn't know what it was. And it turned out to be like my first encounter with one of the higher level enemies.
Yeah.
And he was built around the concept that you can't shoot him and you can't get close enough to melee him or you're going to get fucked. Mm-hmm. So you have to go as close as you can, draw out his attack, and then shoot him once he's in the middle of his attack.
That's the only way to get like.
That was the only way to get him.
But was he like following? Like, what was the noise?
It was just like a clanking sound, like fucking chains and stuff.
And
he was slowly following me. Yeah, it was like a fucking nemesis thing.
So you aggroed the son of a bitch and you followed you?
Yeah, and here was, oh my god, we came across this this vendor, and there was this little robot here, and I had an item I could put in the robot. I do that and I activate a fucking boss fight.
Oh shit!
Out of fucking nowhere.
That right there is probably the coolest thing I've seen in this.
And what does it do? It spawns turrets.
Yes,
which is absolutely wonderful.
Put it back in the box.
Yes,
put it back in the box.
Like it was a terrible surprise.
Okay, real quick, I want to use this as an opportunity to transition really quick to the other game.
Okay,
and I'm going to talk about it very briefly because we've talked about it. Hey, what?
I'm timing you.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm only bringing this up, and I'm transitioning because it's a Gunfire game, and it's the game they made right before they made Remnant from the Ashes. And I played it. Chris Davis talked about it, I think, last year when it first came out.
He did.
But I took a breather because I was playing Sekiro, and I was like, okay, I need to fucking step away from this for a minute. Started playing Darksiders 3, and I fucking finished that game.
Huh.
Has anybody here played?
Nope.
Hell, I did.
Darksiders 1 or 2?
Oh, yeah. Darksiders 1 and 2, yeah.
Darksiders 3, pretty legit. I was worried there was going to be kind of a step down. I mean, it's been a while since I played Darksiders 1 or 2. Okay, your little invisible stopwatch there is freaking me out. Krispy.
Just keep eye contact.
Yeah. But, and also Darksiders 3 is free next month on PlayStation Plus. Great, I just finished playing it. But this game is pretty cool. It's been a while since I played Darksiders 1 or 2. I think you would probably notice, a little bit. There was something really special about the. God damn it, Krispy, you're killing me. Stop it. The level design in Darksiders 1 and 2 was great, and it was like very expansive and vast, and it felt like you were playing a Zelda game. I'm not sure if I would necessarily describe Darksiders 3 in the same way, in the same light.
No.
But it does some really cool things mechanically, and like a lot of the powers and abilities that you use in this game were built around, or a lot of the level design is like kind of built around switching between these different elemental powers, like on the fly. So like as you can see, like I used in this footage here, I used I forget what they call it. It's
a freeze ability, basically.
Well,
before
that, you something
one that makes
swim.
You sink to the bottom of the ocean, or bottom of water,
the iron
like
boots.
It's gravity, I think.
It's like wearing iron boots, and then you take it off, and then you can switch to like ice. So anytime you step in water, it instantly freezes, and you can walk on the water.
Oh, I know exactly where you are. Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff is built around switching around stuff like that, but like Darksiders has always been this series that's kind of like strangely prided itself on like. I don't want to use the word ripping off other franchises, but like
heavily inspired.
Everything is like heavily inspired by something. There's not really an original thought or original idea that exists in these games, aside from maybe just like just maybe the lore or whatever is maybe kind of unique. But like mechanically speaking, everything is borrowed or in some shape or form. But like never necessarily to its detriment. Like it's always pretty good, and it evokes the same like feelings and. That you get playing these other games, and it's kind of like a nice homage. Like Darksiders 2, if I remember correctly, like that whole game made me feel like I was playing like an open world Zelda game. And like Darksiders 1 had like a portal level and stuff in it. And like this game obviously riffs really heavily off of Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. Because obviously Dark Souls is this generation's new hotness.
But it's also a lot more forgiving.
It is definitely a lot more forgiving. I mean, there are some boss fights in this game that are kind of difficult, and nothing to the level of Dark Souls. But like the one thing I thought was really strange is that, and you mentioned this when you talked about it, it's just like when you die in this game, you obviously drop all your souls. Yeah. They're literally called souls, but like dying again before you get to them doesn't remove them from the world,
your
soul stain just stays there, and there could be like the world could be like littered with them. So every once in a while you'll find soul stains that you can like when you double back and you'll feel like, oh, I left this here ages ago.
Yeah,
it's strange, and it's almost like I left myself a gift from.
Wait, nothing. Don't worry about it. Me and Krispy are just having fun.
You're the worst.
Nolan's talking about spilling his seed everywhere.
Just the remnants of it. You gotta go find it.
God damn it! I don't know how you do that, but okay.
Oh my god.
Well, you catch most of it.
But you know what?
Is this guy still played by Mark Hamill?
No, it's played by someone trying to do their best Mark Hamill impression.
No, Mark Hamill did The Watcher.
Whatever.
No, I thought he was Volgrim.
No, he wasn't Volgrim. He was the Watcher.
Yeah,
in Darksiders 1 or 2, he wasn't Volgrim? Man.
No. Okay, is Mark Hamill in the game at all?
No. Definitely not. Voice acting is pretty good. I actually ended up liking this horseman more than I thought I was going to. She seemed kind of dull in like the trailers and stuff, but I ended up liking her quite a bit by the time it was all said and done. And like the whole game is built around finding all of the 7 deadly sins and fighting them and stuff, which I think seemed a lot more exciting at first.
Like Shazam.
Huh?
Like Shazam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Shazam.
Mark Hamill was the Watcher.
Okay.
Who were you talking about?
I was talking about Volgrim.
Volgrim was Phil Lamar.
Yeah.
Oh,
is he still? Maybe
I think he still is.
Yeah, no, he is.
Okay.
He is.
Well, then there we go. It was Phil Lamar doing his best Phil Lamar impression. Fantastic. But like, you know, the Darksiders universe is very like colorful and like clean and crisp in the way it's animated and stuff. And like, I was like, oh, I could imagine these 7 deadly sins being like really cool looking and shit. And like, I'd say like 3 out of 7 of them were like pretty dope. You know, the other ones were kind of like, oh, that's disappointing.
Well, you've done Envy, Gluttony, and
I beat the game.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
okay.
I finished it.
Sorry.
I saw them all. I saw all 7 of them. They're kind of dull. Some of them are, but you know, either way, it's still a pretty fun game. And the whole game, like the best mechanic in this whole fucking game is the what was it called in Bayonetta, where you like Witch time? The dodging out of the way at the perfect second to like slow down time and stuff. It's still dope as shit.
Which was also in Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
But yeah.
Because again, this game borrows from everything under the sun, and it
pays homage.
It somehow works. But that's all I'll say about it. I had to bring it up because I did play through it and finish it. So, Darksiders 3 is all right. What's my time, Krispy?
It says way too long.
Yeah.
It says time to go to break.
It was like 4 minutes 20 seconds.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, Nolan, we're gonna talk about Rebel Galaxy for a minute, and then
Rebel Galaxy Outlaw,
and then Rebel Galaxy. Yes, right. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, and then we'll do a little bit of news, which surprisingly we got like flooded with news today. Like I woke up and was like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then of course we will answer some questions from our supporters on Patreon and Twitch. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is a pretty good show.
Welcome back to our show, everybody.
It could be better.
We have one more video game to talk about. Nolan, you weren't here last week. How was that PB&J you had during the break?
Dude, it's still a little bit in my mouth. I need to like rinse it out. I should have gotten some like milk or something.
Yeah, really swish it around. Get behind.
I'm at the point in my life where I actually refuse to eat PB&J if I don't have a glass of milk.
Wow, you must be like 7 or like 70.
Yeah. One of those. One of those.
All right.
Anyways, Nolan, tell us about what else have you been playing?
Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. So I actually haven't played it in a little bit, but I had played it before the show last week, which I wasn't on. I wanted to talk about it a little bit more. We had talked about it on the show previous to that, so it would have been like 610 was the last time we talked about it, probably. Where I was talking about with Brad and stuff. It's a good game. It's very similar to the first one, except for there's just a whole lot more to do.
Yeah.
And you can fly like in 6 degrees of freedom, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And that does come into play, and I think that's one of the issues with the game. And I can't remember if Brad talked about it, but the game doesn't have like a great tutorial like at all. It didn't really tell you anything. And it wasn't until I like Googled it that I found out there's like actually like a targeting mode that when you go into that, you can zoom out and it almost gives you like a view of the entire area, and so you can see like where enemies are, and then you can select them in that mode, so when you come back into gameplay, all of a sudden you can just see kind of where they're at, and you can track them, because the game does have like a nice function where when you lock onto an enemy, you just have to hold left trigger and your ship will match their pace, or it will speed up towards them, and it will always kind of focus on them, which makes it a lot easier when you're in combat. But yeah, so early on, I will say combat in this game is really tough. Sorry, right now I don't remember, I captured this footage weeks ago. I'm most likely trying to get to a destination, and sometimes you have to make multiple hyperspace jumps to get there. So it's in like a different system, and so I have to take different...
You're currently in Missouri.
Yeah, so that is one thing. All of the states, all of these systems are named after states or locations in the United States. So there's like Colorado, and if you go to Denver, they usually you can often sell or buy alien species there. It's kind of one of those things where it's like depending on the country, they have their things. Like so that you start in Texas. Is the system you start in, and you can go to like Austin or Amarillo or Lubbock. Those are like the different places you can go.
That's what they picked, huh?
Yeah, and like Austin, you can buy beer, stuff like that. I don't know, like kind of stuff like that.
But if you go to Denver, you can be an alien slaver.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So is it the southern states where you can be the alien slaver, or what is it?
No, so it's Colorado. I think Hitchcock. Sells alien stuff maybe, and there's like one other, maybe Slaughter.
What do you do with these aliens?
And so so that's kind of something. Yeah, there's a place called Slaughter. That's kind of one of the things I wanted to talk about. And so early on, I was having a really tough time with combat. I would die quite often. I didn't have an upgraded ship, whatever, and so I would often avoid picking any missions that were combat heavy because I'm like, I don't want to fucking get into combat. I know I'm gonna die. It's gonna be very frustrating. And so I was like, okay, well let me work on transports.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, can you take these like 5 dried yak pieces over to this system for me? And it's like, yeah, sure, why not?
Weird.
Put them on the ship, fly it over there, sell them, get a little bit of money.
Flying a yak across space.
Wow.
And so
Pieces of
it.
Dried, not like live. You need a permit for that. But so I was like, oh well, you know what? I noticed that this location sells this product at a lower price, and this other system buys it at a higher price. Pick up a couple of these, and I'll take them over there and sell them. Often it's one of those things where it's like there'll be a mission, and it's like this town is looking for water. You have to procure the water on your own. But they'll pay you heavily.
Heftily. No.
Heavily.
Hefty.
Heavily.
Heavily.
Heavy payment.
They'll pay you a lot of money.
So
the world will never know.
What I found was often if you find locations where you can either mine for certain resources out, or you can find a station that will sell it on the cheap. And you can talk to bartenders and they'll be like, hey, like, this system is selling this for cheap. I heard it, on the radio or whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, you are like a space trucker. You basically are.
There is a space radio.
And so I would be like, okay, well, I need 15 waters, and this place has 27 waters. And so I buy all of them because clearly the system that needed 15 probably could use some more. So you go there, you sell the 15, you get the profit for completing the mission, but generally they're buying that resource at a higher price. So what I've been doing is I've been picking all of those missions, and so I literally have, for probably a good 4 hours, just been flying around the world buying and selling shit. And dude, I've made so much fucking money.
But
like my net,
fun?
yeah. Dude, so my net worth originally when I first started it was like 200,000.
Someone's like, yes, I'm rich.
My net worth now is like 4 million or something like that.
I've got 4 million credits. I'm having fun.
Yeah, but so the reason that is money can't buy happiness. Like I've kind of slowed down on that because, like I said, the problem was I was often getting into fights I couldn't handle because my shields wouldn't regenerate fast enough, or once they broke through my shields, my hull was too weak. Or I didn't have any weapons, so I took all that money I earned and upgraded the shit out of my ship. And so now, like, I have fucking like the thickest hull, the best like power generator to regenerate shields. My giant fucking ship is covered in weapons, and so now that I've done all of that, now I've actually started playing the game and doing missions where I'm going into combat and stuff like that. So this is probably a little bit earlier on.
Is this footage we're watching after you upgrade your ship fully?
Not fully. This is partially, but that was the targeting mode you saw me do. Like I had noticed that someone was shooting on me, so you can go to that targeting mode, and it will not only show you where the enemies are, but it will show you who they're locked onto. So if there's multiple enemies and friendlies in combat, you can see like, oh, I'm not going to go after this guy because he's over there fighting someone else. So I'm going to go after this guy because he's aiming at me right now.
Yeah. And the game's paused when you're in that mode.
Correct. Yeah. As soon as you bring up the targeting mode, it pauses.
How much freedom do you have over like the look of your ship?
Brad kind of brought it up 2 weeks ago, but so there are X number of models of ships you can get. There aren't actually that many, at least as of yet. I don't know if there's more. I haven't unlocked any, but there's like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 different like models. But like Brad said, they literally built like a Photoshop in this game.
Oh, yeah. Right.
You go into that Photoshop mode and you can fucking do whatever you want to
It's incredible.
As far as like the exterior, like details.
Coloring it, painting it, but the physical shape of the ship stays the same. Yes.
But like the ship we're looking at here with the big butt.
Yes.
That is just that's just like the base model of the ship.
So this one is I chose the one with the largest hull because I could contain more stuff for selling.
It likes it thick.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So Nick's intrigued. He's an ass man.
I've been looking at this ship for a while now.
Cargo space.
The base hull of this ship can contain like 24 tons of cargo, and then I upgraded it. So I think I'm up to 44
tons of
44 tons of cargo is what my ship can currently contain. So yes, I am buying a lot of shit. But the only reason I've been doing that so efficiently
because you're killing people.
It's because the internet's come together, and I have a document that shows me all of the places that sell shit at a good price and buy shit at a good price. Because it is so fucking hard.
He's got the trade papers.
I literally have an Excel file that other people have helped compile, and they're like, hey, they also take suggestions. Like, hey, if you found that this place sells this thing at a cheap price, let us know, and we'll update the shit.
The internet is a fascinating place.
So the sale prices are static; they're not dynamic.
Yes and no. So they will factor, but like I said, certain regions will always want this at a higher or lower price.
So there'll be like a pair.
Like this system never has water, so
correct.
They
always want water. Don't get me wrong. If you just keep selling them water, the price for water will go down. But because like I said, there are places that like some of the southern states, I think they produce water, or like I think somewhere in Colorado there's like an ice field. And so you can go there and mine water, but also all of the towns around there sell water. And so
say there was a freighter that was on its way to this planet that needed water desperately, and you happen to, I don't know, blow it up and steal the cargo. I mean, it might inflate the prices a little, and maybe you could make a little bit of profit.
That's true. I haven't joined that guild yet. There's a mercenary guild and a merchant guild, and maybe the mercenary one's more like that. I've only joined the merchant guild because that's kind of what I've been doing. This right here is, I think, one of the missions where I found this place, and I forget what it's called now.
You should check your doc.
Damn it. But no, so this place is, you can buy it. And so now it becomes my base. Like, I own this place, but it starts out with literally nothing. It's just you and like a robot standing around. Literally, when you're like, it's nothing.
Chair.
Sorry, you do have a chair. But
and an ATM.
No. So I just added this. So what happened was it's not an ATM, it's like a mission thing. So slowly I've been adding stuff to my base. So it's like, hey, I found someone who was willing to do trade, like put my little like asteroid on their trade route. So now stuff will flow through here so you can accept missions and stuff. Not even in this footage, after I've recorded this footage, I found a guy who was willing to be, he's like a really good bartender. I paid him a shit ton of money, and he's now willing to come and be a bartender at my asteroid to attract people. So now they have a reason to stop and stay there a while. And there's a bar now and stuff like that. And so I'm slowly starting to upgrade my base to make it like a place where people want to go. And I think as soon as I added the bar...
Everybody knows your name?
Yes. Thank you. As soon as I added the bar, now the place actually gets profit. And so every once in a while, I just get money deposited in my account from people who have stopped by. Damn. My assumption is it's similar to like fucking like, I don't know, like from Assassin's Creed 2, like the Medici or whatever, the little like village you get, and you kind of, it's just the more you add to it, the more money it earns, and it just starts. Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't called Medici.
It was something like that.
Marigione?
Yeah.
Montergione.
There we go.
And
with
so
our powers compound, we figured it out.
But yeah, and so they're one of the cool things about this is when you see me zoom out on that map, you can kind of see like, oh, I'm trying to get here. This is the place I'm going. You see those red lines? They kind of, you saw one briefly, maybe. Those are warp gates that are like not exactly functioning properly.
Oh.
And so it might be a shortcut. You can take it and either everything's going to be A-okay or it fucking fucks up your ship. Like your ship comes out of it limping, like you have parts like just like smoking and stuff, and so it's like, you have to. Do I want to take 4 jumps and spend all the time doing it, or do I want to take this one jump that maybe might risk hurting? And so like often I've done it a couple of times where like I come out of that jump with like $8,000 in damage to my ship or something like that.
But you're rich, Nolan.
Yeah, I know. No, at this point, yes. Early on, $8,000 was a lot of money.
Do you have to manage?
You know what I wish this game did?
So you have to manage fuel for jumping between systems. Just flying around in a single system, it's irrelevant. Right. But yes, your ship can only have so much fuel for jumps. Like it's like 8 jumps or something like that. And if you hit that limit, you have to stop somewhere to refuel.
So that's why taking the shortcut might.
It saves you fuel. Yeah. I don't know if you pay for fuel. I think it might be free. Every time you stop at a base...
He has too much money. He doesn't even know if he's paying for it.
Every time you stop at a base, you do have to pay a docking fee, which I think covers the fuel, but the docking fee is only like 50 credits. It's like barely anything. So yeah, it's just like whatever. Yeah, do it.
What's up? Go ahead. I was going to ask, on the topic of fuel, can you fly between systems without jumping?
No. You cannot.
Shit.
Well, it's like Chris Davis. It's like fucking space. Things are really fucking far apart.
Literally astronomically long. How far you have to go, but like
it would take you 200 years.
I would like the idea that you could.
Your ship would arrive and you'd be dead. Sure.
Let me just tell you this, Chris Davis. This is not the game for that.
That's not how space works, Chris Davis.
I mean, it works in No Man's Sky.
I don't think it does.
But that's
not quite.
In No Man's Sky,
you have to warp to leave a system.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it would be stupid.
I think it would physically let you, but like I said, I think
I don't think it would. I don't know. I mean, I think the barrier is like so far out that it would take you forever to get to it anyway. Because like it literally takes days to move between the planets in the center of the system.
Yeah.
So like getting out to the edge would still be like forever anyway. But then to add the other like 120 years beyond that it'd take to fly to the next.
I'm gonna need you to.
I just want to know about the theoretical possibility.
I'm
not that anybody's going to do it.
I'm going to need you to test that theory and get back to us next week, Krispy.
In VR.
I have a question about the
VR. Oh, gosh.
Ship. You were cycling through like different cockpits, it looked like.
Yeah. So you can have a first-person view where you're just in your cockpit. You can have a third-person view where you're right behind it. Or if you have a turret on your ship, you can go into that turret.
So you were like jumping around between like turret points?
Yeah. So you have finer control of the turret. Like I said...
That's pretty cool.
When you do that lock on, your ship kind of follows it, but not precisely.
If you're in the turret?
No, if you're in the cockpit. If you're in the turret, you can only see what the turret sees. So if the turret's facing below your ship, you don't see a ship that's in front of you.
So if you're in the turret, no one's flying your ship?
Yes and no. You can stay. If you hold that lock on, you'll still follow the ship you're locked onto. Gotcha. Like I said, it depends on where the turret is. But for the most part, I just use that auto track, and then I use the analog stick to adjust to a finer detail. So I want to lead them a little bit or whatever.
Sure. But you get that like Millennium Falcon thing of like the placement.
Yeah. So on the system map there, there were lines linking the various different systems. Some were white, some were purple, some were red.
So the red ones are the broken jumps.
Okay.
The white is just a regular one. Purple is the fastest path to your current destination or mission.
Okay.
So yeah, anything white is that's just the jump system. The red ones are the defective jump points. The purple, it will just kind of show you the quickest path. So here's an example of I jumped and all of a sudden there were enemies there. And so sometimes when I don't get in fights, I found the easiest thing to do is just go straight fucking down. until you're far enough away to be able to jump again, because it won't let you jump if enemies are too close. And so sometimes when I don't want to fight, I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to jump out of here. And I go, like, and you pick a direction, but generally the way your sensors work is they pick up ships that are, like, you know, ahead of you. And so if you go straight down, you're more likely to get farther away from them. Does that make sense? It's kind of like, I don't want to say, sometimes I'll go down and away.
Put down in quotations.
Correct.
This is space.
Yes, it is space. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm still having fun. Like Chris Davis said earlier, there is a radio, so you can cycle through a bunch of different music. I have kept it on the jazz music, so it was a little more like Cowboy Bebop, which is fun.
I mean, gotta.
The story so far has been okay. It's nothing that I'm like fucking falling in love with. I did come across like a story mission that kind of made me. I guess I could have not done it. I could have abandoned the mission, but I didn't want to. Like, the person seemed like an interesting person, but they wanted me to hijack some medical supplies because some people in need needed them but didn't have the money for them. And so I ended up helping. Obviously, that hurt my alliance with, like, there's like a, you know, kind of like there's a, you know, like a government force, and then there's mercenaries, and then there's bad guys, and you can kind of have like your reputation with each of them. And so it hurt my reputation to like do that, but I also wanted to kind of see where this person's storyline went.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. I've been enjoying it. The one cool thing is every time you switch ships, your UI completely changes.
That's pretty cool.
Every single ship like brings up a different.
There's a lot of
UI.
little details about this game I like.
Can you customize your UI?
As of now, no, not to my knowledge. Which is kind of like I don't know. Like, the thing is, if you look at the cursor, you're like what's it? Your crosshairs, kind of. It's like the shape of your ship.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of interesting.
That is a bizarre.
And so it shows you where like kind of like guns are and stuff on it. And so every single ship you have has like a different like crosshair, kind of. So I have the big fucking bulky ship, which means I'm slower. I'm not as maneuverable. If I switch to one of the smaller ships that is more maneuverable, you can go really fucking quick.
Yeah.
One of the things I found as well is when I'm kind of flying around the system, I put a lot of the power towards my engines and not towards my weapons, because you physically do go faster.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you can see, I don't know what the speed is, I can't see, but you just saw me right there. That's what I did. I clicked at the menu, tweaked up my engine power real quick, because when I'm doing my boost, your accelerator, you have different ones. One of them gives you a quick boost, like it like fucking goes from like 300 meters per second to 600 real fucking quick.
Yeah.
But it caps out pretty quick. What I've elected to go with is the one that does not accelerate as fast, but it will accelerate up to like 2 times speed. I can't remember. So if my it'll like triple my speed almost. And so I can go really fast. It just takes me a little bit longer to accelerate up to that speed.
Makes you go faster over a longer period of time.
Yeah, and so I like that you kind of have those options. You have to kind of pick and choose. What do I want to do? How do I want to do that? I think if I was in a ship that was more geared towards fighting, I would probably go with that quicker acceleration.
With a smaller butt.
Yeah. I don't know if you can have multiple ships yet, and I don't know. Like I said, I only have the one right now, and every time I want to switch ships, I have to buy the other ship. I trade in my ship, so I get some credit for it. My assumption is maybe once I build out my base a little bit farther, I'll be able to have multiple. That's what I'm hoping for. And yeah, some people in chat were talking about modding. I'm excited for the potential for modding. I want this big ship to be the Serenity.
Yeah.
I want the little fighter ship to be the swordfish.
I was about to say,
Oh,
did you pick this one because it looks kind of Serenity?
It kind of does. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to the mods, the cool stuff. But yeah, sweet. So I mean that's Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. It's I didn't talk about, like I said, the story too much, just because honestly 3/4 of the gameplay of this mine so far has not been story.
Yeah.
I need to play a little bit more of the story.
Mostly haggling.
Yes, pretty much. But I am a rich man.
Yes, you are. All right, Chris Davis, are you prepared to
do the news?
Hit us with some news topics?
Okay.
Some of these. Okay, I will preface this by saying some of these are going to be smaller, and then one or two of them we might like save a lot of the conversation for next week when Brad is back, because I know specifically with the Yakuza thing, he probably has a lot he wants to say about it.
Of course he does.
So we're just going to kind of casually mention it tonight. But we'll talk more in depth about it, I guess, when Brad is back. But
how about we start with the new hotness that I know Nolan is excited for?
Yeah, I have not been paying attention.
All right, well, maybe
I might have no idea what you're talking about
in the moment. So Shovel Knight Dig was announced.
Oh, yeah, Brad actually texted me about this. He's like, I'm sure you didn't see, so I'm texting
Brad
you.
sees the news and like, I gotta text them.
Yeah.
He did that with Krispy too. So Shovel Knight Dig was announced.
Yeah.
I don't know. I literally know nothing about Shovel Knight because it's just not really my jam.
It's Shovel Knight, but
Spelunky.
It plays like Splunky. Or you're kind of like digging and going down. It seems like a lot. Yeah, you're fighting like enemies as you dig. It seems like some are chasing you. I get a little bit of what was that game? Downwell or fuck, what was it called? There's a
Maybe
game.
Somebody in chat knows. I have no.
There's a game where you're essentially just kind of falling down the whole time.
Like falling through down a hole.
Yes.
Downwell.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that's what it is. I get some vibes from that too. Just kind of how the by developer. How the level kind of seems to be, and how he was falling, and then you can bounce off of enemies and go whatever, and that's kind of like a downwell kind of type style. But yes, it is very much Spelunky. I don't think it's like SteamWorld Dig or anything like that, where you're kind of like you're never going like back up. It seems like as of now. But it does seem kind of roguelike.
But this sounds like a game made for Nolan, maybe.
Maybe I the trailer didn't show too much. It definitely has a lot of Shovel Knight vibe. Yeah. I don't know the percentage of each of those. Does that make sense? I don't know how much.
Is this made by the guys who did Shovel Knight, or is this made by? Is it Shovel Knight game made by somebody else?
Yeah,
is this like a Cadence of Hyrule situation?
Kind of. It said it starts with an N. I can't remember their name. It said at the end of the trailer, it's like Nicotine, not nicotine, but like
not Niantic, is it?
Someone in chat would have to
Probably
help me out.
not.
I can't remember. Nitrome. Thank you, King Carey. Yeah, so Nitrome apparently. But so I mean But they didn't just announce Shovel Knight Dig. They announced what, like 3?
The other big thing was the King of Cards expansion.
Mm-hmm. I thought they announced like 3 different things.
They announced something.
All Shovel Knight related?
Yeah, they announced something else. I forgot what it was.
They ever get tired of making Shovel Knight?
No.
There's so many Shovel Knight games.
Nick,
it's
would you
making
ever
Yacht
get
Club
tired
a lot
of
of
making money?
Yeah.
Well, when you put it like that, maybe not.
Shovel Knight Showdown.
See, Shovel Knight Showdown. Like I thought they announced like another kind of like spin-off game.
I think it's
I think it was like a card game actually.
Stuff they were doing like free add-ons.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Post-launch content.
They're not making money.
Well, no, and so that did anyone else read Pixels Blood, Sweat, and Pixels? Because they talk about Yacht Club games and how the fact that they had promised so much content in their campaign, their crowdfunding campaign, that it got to the point where they're like, fuck, we have to work on this and it's not making us any money because we've already gotten all the money. And that was kind of like a pain right after the launch of it because they had promised so much DLC and they couldn't charge for any of it. So they had to just kind of, and that was kind of a situation they were in.
That was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Walcar, I don't know how to say that guy's name, says Shovel Knight Showdown's an upcoming multiplayer update for the base game. It was formerly called Battle Mode. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So it's a bunch of new Shovel Knight stuff coming.
And the King of Cards stuff actually looks pretty good.
Which is also related to Shovel Knight?
I mean, it's Shovel Knight gameplay, but you also have a card battle mode in there that looks suspiciously like Triple Triad.
But
it kind of does. It's a 3x3 grid of cards and
just what we needed. More addicting, another addicting element of Shovel Knight.
Because why not?
And that's coming in December apparently.
Yes.
All right. What is the next news topic?
How about that other big game that got announced?
All right, so this is the one I mentioned that we're probably going to just touch on here, but Yakuza 7 was officially announced.
It was
this morning. The big thing here, the big twist. Aside from what I hear, it takes place in a separate, a new location. It's not Kamurocho.
Thank God.
A bigger location, if I recall. And the big thing is, the game is pivoted towards a turn-based combat system.
Yeah.
It has like a JRPG combat system. I don't even know. I don't know how that's how it's going to translate to Yakuza, because just as someone who hasn't played Yakuza before. but I know Brad's probably going to have a lot to throw in here.
The trailer looked interesting.
It does look different.
Because of the fact that it's turn-based, and it's not just the player character like Kiri or Majima or whatever. It's not just them fighting. It seemed like I don't know who this new character is. But he's like with a woman, and she started like using her bag in combat and stuff. And so I am kind of, and once again, the whole thing was in Japanese, so I couldn't read like the moves they were doing or whatever. And I haven't analyzed the trailer. I'm sure Brad's watched it 20 times by now. I've only seen it twice.
He's watching it right now, I hear.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it does seem like it's going to play quite differently. I'm curious to see more.
I have Brad's reaction here if you want me to read it.
Sure. What does Brad say?
Says, Yakuza combat sucks, and has always sucked. This is welcome. Unless you get into brawls just as frequently, then it could become tedious.
Oh, I could see it being extremely tedious.
If it was as frequently as they pop up in regular games,
yeah,
that would be weird.
He also says, if there's one bittersweet thing about this, they were finally getting so seamless with the action, like sprinting at a pack of dudes and launching that first attack completely seamlessly. The direction they were going, I wouldn't have been surprised if the next game or two would just have had open brawling with maybe even pedestrians getting in the way.
I would.
Well, not anymore.
Yep, not anymore. They are sidestepping that.
All I know is that if you're going to go to a turn-based combat system and you're going to have those random combat encounters, you got to have those battles over in like a minute.
I'm sure they'll be over fairly quickly.
We shall.
Unless they are just.
It's just
less
gonna be
frequent.
like a JRPG, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Good battle system.
I will say, if you watch the trailer, though,
fun part.
like every attack wasn't just like bam and then you're done. It was like kind of like a drawn out kind of thing. Like it took a little bit.
Yeah,
at the very least,
especially when you're fighting like really beefy dudes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are at the point where we have hit the 7th entry in this series, and like I think it was about time to start making some pretty bold changes, and I think this is probably pretty fitting. Along those lines, so I think it's a pretty welcome change. But yeah, I'm sure we'll talk more about that next week when Brad's here. I'm sure he has more he'll want to add to it. Maybe we'll know more about it by that time. We're coming up on TGS here pretty soon. So.
Hey, good for them for taking such a
man.
I mean, you know what else we're coming up on, right?
PAX.
Yeah, PAX is this weekend.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
This weekend?
Yes.
Yeah. Ed's going.
I didn't apply for.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about that when we know more. What is next?
How about that Telltale thing?
Okay, this is weird.
So
a group of investors has purchased the name and some of the IP owned by Telltale and plans to revive the studio. Now, it sounds like this is going to be in name only, and like they're going to call it Telltale and maybe do the same kind of projects.
They're going to call it The
but
Walking Dead.
As of right now, we don't know. Do we know, is any of the talent from Telltale?
Well, that's the thing, though. That's this delightful
zombies.
offer from them is that they are offering people that worked at Telltale to come back and work for them on a contractual basis with the potential that they might be allowed to have full time.
All right.
It's called contract to hire, Chris Davis.
I will say this.
Yeah, it's called a fucking scam.
Yeah. I will say this. At this point, it's been so long since that Telltale thing, most of those people have probably already landed on their feet somewhere else and would probably rather die than you go back
hold
and
on.
something
Prince,
risky.
I don't think you got my joke. I wasn't saying they're going to call it The Walking Dead. I was saying they're calling it The Walking Dead because the studio was dead and they're bringing it back. Come on now. I'm not saying they're literally going to call it The Walking Dead.
Your joke is not logical.
So first of all, I don't know.
This is bad.
This is bad
and dumb.
I don't think it's necessarily bad. I just don't think we're gonna see like
dumb.
something amazing come out of it. I think they'll probably launch 1 or 2 mediocre games and then it'll fizzle.
It's also kind of like, guys, come on, like Telltale kind of imploded on itself for, I hate to say this, but it kind of did it for a reason. Like,
wasn't like
they hedged their bets.
This
they
is
were
like
doing way too
investors who 4 years ago were looking and being like, that Telltale brand name's got some value, and now they finally have the opportunity to seize control of it, and like they're just like not hip to the fact that like I don't think the name Telltale really pulls as well as it did before.
Nobody wants this. So yeah,
they did it to themselves, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like
hold on, let me take a step back. The employees did not do it to themselves. The management did.
Yes.
The employees were doing great work, and then they were like, "All right, I need you to make 40 games in 3 days. Go."
It was
Stop sleeping.
That's what happened.
It was a poorly managed studio that refused to change. with the times.
They're just like, if you don't shit out a game by the end of the week.
That looked exactly like the game we shat out last week.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
What if we spend some time on a new engine? Fuck your engine!
Yeah.
Our engine is the best engine. All right. So if anything comes of this, we'll bring it up later. Next news topic.
Okay. How about that Man of Medan?
Okay, so Man of Medan comes out tomorrow, actually, and we'll be talking about it on next week's show. But the reason I put this on the dock is because
the Dark Pictures Anthology.
The Dark Pictures Anthology.
Yeah.
What?
What the fuck is that?
Well, I'm about to tell you. Wait, do you really not know what this is?
Do you know?
The reason it's on the... Okay.
What is this?
It's all...
Okay.
It's all,
none of these mean anything.
Crispy, it's all about Black Betty. No, Black Betty, Man of Medan.
What?
Black Betty, Man of Medan.
Okay, what? Nick,
I appreciate that.
Nick,
Oh
enlighten
my
me.
God.
What is this? And
Okay.
why do I care?
Is this the old Black Betty show?
Until Dawn.
Okay.
Okay,
I know Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. After they made that, they announced Man of Medan. And when they announced Man of
I
Medan...
thought they did, like, the Inpatient. Or...
No, they did. Yeah, that was like a VR side thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They announced Man of Medan as the first game in the Dark Pictures Anthology series, which is going to be a series of games that are in the same vein, spiritual successors to Until Dawn.
Yep.
But they're going to be, and it's an anthology series. It changes.
Correct.
And
Every
they're
game's
only
going to be a
3
little
to
bit
4 hours
different.
apiece.
No,
I don't think that's
Great.
necessarily.
Man of Medan apparently is 5 to 6 hours, so a little bit longer than I was expecting, to be totally honest. But the reason I put it on the dock is because, part of me was wondering, like, what is this even going to be? Is this actually going to continue? Like, they've talked about having ideas for other games, and it turns out at the end of when the credits roll on Man of Medan, which, like I said, comes out tomorrow. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
Every time you say it.
And, like, you try to, like, rush through it so that it's not a joke and it just makes it funny.
Man of Medan.
With Man of Medan.
Oh my god. Yeah, they really picked a terrible name, I think, for this one. The point is, when the credits roll in that game, there's actually a trailer for the next game in the series. So,
Really?
as in, they already
know what they're doing.
They've talked about having like 3 or 4 games already planned out, but like they have a trailer for the next one, which is supposed to come out early next year. At the end of this one, and the game is called Little Hope.
Little Hope.
And it stars one of the actors from fucking
From fucking
oh god, is it from Shameless? No, not from Shameless. I don't know.
Do you know who the actor is or what
No,
they
I
look
can't remember
like?
his
or...
name.
What does he look
His
like?
name, William H. Macy.
He looks kind of like the guy from
Macy.
from the new Star Wars game, from Jedi the Fallen Order.
Oh,
but not that guy.
Oh, but not
Not-
that guy's
okay.
in Shameless, Nick.
That guy is in Shameless.
Well, then I have no idea where this guy is from.
And there's another guy. Is it the same guy or another guy that just looks a lot like him that's in Gotham?
I really
No,
wish
that's
we were
the
being
same guy.
definitive.
It's not the same guy,
Yes,
is
it
it?
is.
No,
Yes.
there's another. Oh, I'm thinking of the dude who plays It.
Oh, yeah, no. Those are two.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just thought it was really interesting that this actually is shaping up to be a thing that they're like, like it's not just a thing they tried it and then like
Sure.
decided one game
And
was
then
enough and
waited
stopped.
for feedback.
Like there's a game, there's
They're
already
like,
a second game well in development.
No, we are.
We are hedging
all
our
in.
we are
on
hedging our
Dark
bets.
Pictures.
Oh, this is this. Okay, this guy was in We Are the Millers.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
that guy.
We are the.
Show him the
Yeah,
picture.
hold on. Hold on.
Did you
I
guys
forgot that
all
movie
see
exists.
We Are the
I
Millers or
saw
some
We Are the Millers.
shit?
I saw it.
We all
I
saw it
did not.
together.
Terrible.
No, it was actually pretty funny.
Fuck up.
I mean,
I don't believe him.
it's
I don't
bad. It's
believe
not a
you.
great movie, I guess, but it's
I don't know.
pretty
his
and then he went
name.
home and watched Wild Hogs.
It's this. It's that guy.
Yeah.
That
He's
guy.
from Shameless.
Yeah. No, he's not.
he's not.
He's not in
Who the
Shameless.
fuck is that kid then? Oh, he was in Midsummer.
Yes!
Yeah, he was in
Yeah.
Midsummer. He was in Midsummer. Yeah.
Kid, the guy who peed on the log in Midsummer.
Yeah. Spoiler.
Sorry.
God.
That's how you know an actor from a film is that he peed on a log.
Yeah,
His
well, that was
name
a pretty big
is
deal in the
Will
movie.
Poulter.
Will Holter?
Poulter.
Poulter?
In my mind, he is still the same guy as from Shameless and
Holter.
Jedi Fallen
Oh, he
Order.
was also in Bandersnatch.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He was the
Yeah, he was in the Revenant too.
I didn't
Forgot
see
about
that.
that.
So
okay, enough of this.
That guy is
he was
the
in
next
Chronicles
game.
of Narnia.
Oh, he was the brother?
Yeah, he was the mid brother.
All right, enough about Man of Medan. We'll talk about that.
Man of my day.
Enough about what?
Old Will Poulter, Man of
Man of my day.
All right, I'm calling this the Black Betty Show. All right, moving on. Next news topic.
Dark Pictures had a child. Man of Medan.
I can't wait for next week when I'm going to have to say Man of Medan like 50,000 times. All right, and then the last news out we got today. This is kind of a big deal. TGS is coming up pretty soon, and Capcom has apparently is preparing to announce. They're already teasing the reveal of a new Resident Evil game, pretty blatantly. They haven't expressly said it's Resident Evil, but it's fucking Resident Evil.
No, it definitely.
It's called Project
Resistance,
and the RE is written in red.
They're trying to resist calling it Resident Evil.
And there's been some screenshots that have leaked that people have extracted from YouTube thumbnails.
and it looks like 4 random individuals built in the RE2 engine.
So it's if I'm a betting man, I'm saying this is probably maybe a Resident Evil Outbreak revival.
Wait. It could be the long-awaited remake of Operation Raccoon City.
No,
I mean,
there's no soldiers and broing it out in that.
Not yet. Just
No.
wait.
Not to our knowledge.
if I had, are you being serious?
No, he's not. It's a fucking joke. It's
Okay.
trying to get at me because I fucking hate that game.
But
So there is a thing about this game. When they announced that they were remaking Resident Evil 2, Capcom owned, obviously, ResidentEvil2.com. They also owned ResidentEvilOutbreak.com. Now, when in the middle of development, those pages went away. The URL would just go to a blank white page that just said, okay.
okay.
And what do you know? We got Resident Evil 2, and now Outbreak is the same way. It's a white page that says okay.
Now that I'm thinking about it, the Outbreak thing really does make sense because obviously they just spent all this money making Resident Evil 2 remake, and Resident Evil Outbreak took place in the same timeline as Resident Evil 2, so it only makes sense that they would make a multiplayer game set in the same universe using the same engine, or not same, obviously the same universe, but like same, location.
Considering how long RE2 was in development and how many assets they probably had to work on during that time, there's no way that they're not going to recycle elements for that.
Yeah. So
I mean, just reusing assets doesn't mean it's going to be...
Or not necessarily reusing assets, but introducing them that just didn't get fleshed out.
Sure.
So, this is most certainly going to be a 4-player cooperative multiplayer shooter set in the Resident Evil 2
Probably.
engine / setting.
I mean,
location.
I wouldn't call it a shooter, probably.
I mean, I'm guessing
It's probably going to play just like RE2.
Yeah, which is a third-person shooter. I mean, / survival horror.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a little bit more fast-paced. We'll see what happens. They're gonna reveal it at an event before TGS starts. So we'll find out about that soon. On one hand, I'm a little disappointed because obviously I want the next. I want the Resident Evil 3 remake or whatever Resident Evil 8 is going to be. This is obviously kind of like a stopgap release in between 2 and whatever the next mainline series game in the series is.
Yeah.
But if they can do Outbreak and do it right, then great. I hope it works out. But I'm going to say this right here: that studio does not have a good track record with trying to make games like this. So
Nope.
I'm not necessarily. I'm not instilled with the most hope.
What are you pointing to?
I'm pointing to Resident Evil Outbreak 1 and 2 and Raccoon City and whatever that weird game that wasn't there another multiplayer Resident Evil game?
Okay, so Outbreak and Outbreak File 2 were developed internally, okay? Slant 6 developed Operation Raccoon City.
No, I'm not saying Capcom has not handled as an umbrella has not handled the online multiplayer focused Resident Evil games well. And maybe that's partially because Resident Evil 2 Outbreak came out on the PS2 before online, became super viable.
I mean, I played Outbreak.
Those games, I played both those games too, and they were not good.
I mean, I think they were ahead of their time.
They were way ahead of their time, but as a result, they were trash fires.
I disagree
What else
there.
is in the news?
That's it. That's the
That's
news.
it.
That's the news.
Cool.
So, let's jump straight into community. Nolan, we already welcomed our new patrons, so we can jump straight.
Supporter spotlight, or
I'll do that after.
We actually have 2 new patrons, Nick.
Since we started?
As of today. I don't know if maybe before
that I didn't mention earlier.
Yeah.
Cool.
And of course, as soon as I get to it, the page reloads. Alexander.
Yeah, I said Alexander.
Oh, and Santu.
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome again.
Welcome again.
Oh, I guess because you read them in the opposite order.
Yes, I was.
You read them from newest to like oldest. Okay, I got you now.
Just so you know, everybody, I get emails occasionally from like you ever like there's like a neighborhood watch kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Sure. I just got an email that says, "Was that a gunshot?" That's all it says. That's the entire.
Like on Nextdoor or something?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are on Nextdoor, Nick. That's
probably not.
Well, I hope it wasn't.
Probably a car backfiring.
Question.
Cool.
Read our questions.
Let's get to some questions from our patrons. First question this week from White Fang. Due to life, in parentheses, work, exercise, etc., I have limited free time.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the
I think
club,
we hear
bud.
this about once a week at least. Yeah.
This shows often with games and many side quest activities. How do you play longer games? Do you skip the side quest and non-story focused gameplay? Examples: Witcher, Breath of the Wild, Yakuza series. The answer to that is no. I play about one game a month.
That's it. That's the answer.
If it's a big game, I just tend to like hone in on that, and every free second I have to play games is that game. If it's a long one, like I played 120 hours, I think, of Breath of the Wild, and that was because I was able to just like every free moment I had, I was on it.
I devoted a month and a half solely to Breath of the Wild.
Breath in the Wild.
See, I don't know. Like, I think for me, it's game by game because there are definitely games that I'll play that I just don't really care about playing like a lot of side content.
Yeah.
I'm kind of starting to get that way with Control. Like I was doing all those bureau alerts.
Oh yeah,
and now I'm just kind of like, no.
Every once in a while they hit you these random alerts that's like, go to this sector and like try and take back this thing. And it's like, I'm way on the other side of the fucking building. No,
gotcha.
But yeah.
Well, so I could say
but if it was something like Yakuza, that's like what I'm there for.
I could say similar to that in Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. Sometimes when you're warping around or doing stuff like inside a sector, you'll come across like some ship or some merchant who's being attacked. He's like, "Please help me," and I'm like, "Just turn up the radio." I'm just like,
tuning him out.
I'm good.
And I'll whisper,
I just fly on by.
I will say this: I've mentioned this before, but like especially when I play like big open world like sprawling games, I never fast travel, but I always know when I'm like coming in and I'm like, all right, I need to start wrapping this up.
When you're coming?
Is when I'm like, I'm gonna fast travel.
Yeah.
When I the first time I get the urge to fast travel, I'm like, well, I'm hitting the point where I need to start focusing on just finishing.
Wait,
this
have you
fucking
not
game.
been fast traveling in Control?
Oh no, Control's a little bit different, just because everything is disjointed. Like you would have to go through a load screen one way. You can't just run from one place to the other. You have to go through like, elevators and shit.
But I would say White Fang, right?
Yes,
White
Fang.
Yes. I noticed it. I want to say it was maybe last year, because I try to keep an Excel sheet or like a doc of like all the games I play, and sometimes I'm bad. I usually only update it once every other month or something like that. But I still have all of them. I have every Excel sheet since 2010, which was the first time I was on 4Player Podcast. I have them all. Every single year, the number of games played
goes down.
Has gone down by at least 5 to 10 every year. Yeah. And I literally don't play as many games as I used to. And I just don't have time.
You have to curate your time a little better. I mean, it's like earlier you guys were talking about Darksiders. And I was kind of like, no, I don't play Darksiders. And someone in chat was like, oh, does Krispy not like Darksiders? Does he not think it's a cool series? No, I'm sure it's fine. And I'm sure people who play it enjoy it. But I gotta curate my time, and it's not grabbing me. So I'm not gonna use my time to play.
That is one thing you do have to like be able to. You really do. And this is something I've always struggled with, but you have to be honest with yourself. So when you start to feel yourself struggling with something, you got to know when it's like, okay, maybe it's time.
Which is why Nick is never gonna finish Fire Emblem 3.
You're right. I said it today. I was like, maybe I feel like I might need to put it down because. I haven't played it in a week and a half. I haven't felt the desire to play it in a week and a half because I'm playing Sekiro, I'm playing Control, I'm playing I was playing Darksiders 3 and then I finished it. I'm playing Ace Combat 7. Like I'm like juggling all kinds of things, and I don't have that much more time than anyone else here in the room to do this.
And everyone here is running out of time before the Game of the Year stuff, bro.
Well, that's always
shut the fuck up.
All right,
let's move on. Next question from Villasaurus.
He's a new patron too.
Mm-hmm. I always enjoyed playing hard games like Soulsborne, Fury, or roguelikes.
Mm-hmm. Was that Fury with an I?
With an I, yes. Not the movie with Brad Pitt. But I had an experience with Uncharted 4 that made me question what kind of difficulty I enjoy. I played the game blind for the first time on Crushing, and I didn't know if that improved my experience or not.
I
finished the game with over 400 retries.
Oh my god.
Which made me ask, why did I do that? So what's your philosophy or opinion on difficulty settings in games? Are there certain games where you enjoy a harder experience and those where you play on easier settings? Have you ever regretted picking up a certain difficulty on a game but felt too committed to change it?
I'm going to tell you this right now.
Never.
There are some games that you should be able to recognize pretty easily and know that is the kind of game where I should be able to sit back, enjoy myself, and know that I'm not going to die a shit ton of times. I feel like Uncharted is one of those games. I finished Uncharted 2, and I think I probably maybe died 10 times. Maybe 12 times. I don't know. How many times did you say you died?
400.
400.
Well, he played it on Crushing.
I know. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like that is just the kind... Like, Uncharted is like... Uncharted is like watching a movie, and you should be there to, like, take all that in.
Yeah, I don't... Like, you get this way sometimes, Nick.
I know.
You do get this way, where, like difficulties, like, mean something to you, so, like, you feel like you're, like when we were talking about Fire Emblem, you were I need to play on the Iron Man, I need to play this and everything, and it's like, man, I'm, like, I think you like the idea of the challenge more than the challenge.
Yes.
Okay, because here's the thing.
But here's the thing, like, 99% of the time, if I'm given a choice on difficulty, I will never pick the hardest one.
I always go whatever's, like, normal. Whatever I think is, like, the curated first-time experience for a game, I go normal, and if I'm having a problem with it and there's an option to change difficulty, I go down. I go what?
That's a trophy for getting it on Crushing.
Yeah.
So I beat Uncharted 4 on Crushing. I don't know what my kill count was.
But that wasn't your first attempt at playing that game, I would
probably
imagine.
not.
But like
I guarantee you it wasn't.
I people say that though. People like talk about this thing of like, oh well, like I started it on this difficulty, so I feel like I gotta finish it, you know? Yeah. And it's like,
afraid to
who
bump it
hurt
down.
you?
Like, yeah.
Like who did this to you? Because let me, like, honestly, if it helps, I don't mean this in a mean way, but if it helps, nobody fucking cares that you beat it on the hardest difficulty. So you're only doing it for yourself, and you're not liking it. So why do it?
I completely agree with you.
I will say that back in the day,
I am guilty of this.
Back in the day, I cared a little more, maybe, and it was definitely a kind of achievement, Chivo trophy hunting kind of thing. Back in the day, I cared a little bit more.
Yeah.
Basically, any game nowadays, I either play it on normal or I bump it down to the easiest setting, mainly because I don't have time to be frustrated.
Especially, that's
I don't like if I'm gonna die 50 times in a game, I'm not gonna play that game. Sekiro was like the only one as of lately that I've spent some time like dying and stuff like that, because I was like, that's kind of that's there for a reason. And I know when I died, it wasn't because that guy had a lot of health or I took more damage. It was because I didn't parry correctly or I mistimed it. That's not like a difficulty thing. Sekiro, did it have a difficulty setting?
No, it doesn't. So here's
but
the thing.
That's what I'm
Souls
saying.
Game. Any Souls game, Hollow Knight, Neo, fucking Sekiro, like there is not a difficulty to be selected. That is just like, do you like this kind of game?
Yeah.
Do you want to experience this game? In my case, the answer is yes. I love those games. I absolutely like. I played Sekiro for probably 15 hours this past weekend, and I made a shit ton of progress. But like, if that game had a difficulty selector, I probably wouldn't be playing it.
Yeah, I mean,
you know
it's gonna come down to what types of games you enjoy playing and how that fail condition loop, factors in.
Yeah, the thing is, like, those style of games, the Souls style of games, that genre of games specifically, has found like a beautiful way of like creating a gameplay loop out of difficulty and death.
Yeah.
That most games don't have.
Like if
unless they're Souls clones.
Like, I fucking love stealth games, but you can get into scenarios in a stealth game where you're constantly just fucking losing and you want to restart.
Yeah.
But and I will do those all day long.
Stealth games are the kind of thing where if I get spotted in a stealth game, I feel like compelled to restart.
It's a self-imposed like fail condition restart.
And that makes me super frustrated. All right, we need to move on to the next question, but that is a good question. I hope you find some peace. And
I would say that, like Krispy said, no one cares. Correct. Unless you're trying to compete with someone, or for some reason you need to like show it off. Like,
I don't mean that to be.
No, and that's fine. But I agree. Like, early on, I wanted to do it because then I could show, hey, look, I did it. But now I don't have fucking time to care.
Yeah.
I
want
to
talking about a video game with somebody and then they're like, "Oh, did you beat it?" And you're like, "Yeah, I beat it." And they're like, "What difficulty?" And you're like,
you punch
easy.
them in the face.
Yeah, and they're like, "Ha ha, you beat it on easy." Like, just pull their pants down. Like,
just fucking pants them.
Like, yeah.
What if they have a colostomy bag?
They shouldn't have been dicks. They should have been assholes. Then the conversation's gonna be about the colostomy bag, not that you beat fucking Devil May Cry on normal or whatever.
Holy shit. That went places I didn't expect. Next
question from Ash. With the announcement of Yakuza 3 coming to PS4, I was flooded with memories of high school. I finally remember describing all of the crazy heat moves and story beats to my mates.
Wait, which game is this?
Yakuza 3.
Okay.
Have you guys got a game that really ties to a specific time in your life like that?
Ooh. Final Fantasy IX always reminds me of Christmas. Because I got it on Christmas, and it was one of the. It was my favorite Christmas I've ever had. I literally opened my gifts. I was like, "Oh, Final Fantasy IX! I want to play this so bad!" And I went in my room and I played it all day long. Didn't come out. It was great. Favorite Christmas.
Halo reminds me very much of specifically of the summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school, because that was when I played Halo. Well, like me, my buddy Tyler, like basically just like lived at my house for a month, and all we did was just play.
And your mom was like, "Go home."
Yeah, kind of. I mean, but not really.
And he was like, "No."
Yeah, I was like, we just played Halo a shit ton, and it was when Blockbuster was doing those Game Pass things. So we'd go and like rent 2 games, bring them home, try them out, and then be like, "Fuck these," and take them back and get like, and we did that like 5 times a day. And like that was a really great summer, and I loved it. And there was all kinds of weird Mountain Dew flavors on the market at the time too.
Yes, there were.
Yeah, there
which
were
have
back
never
in the
come
day.
back.
Yeah,
probably for the best.
Master Chief flavor.
Yeah, when I like see the original, when I see like Silent Cartographer or something, like it's just like, ugh, like I just remember my futon and Mountain Dew Code Black or whatever it was called. Like
they
Black
did have
Hole,
one like that.
Whatever it was.
That one called Black Hole. So honestly, in my like early years, even though I played games, I didn't really have too many friends that played them as well. So the only ones I really talked about with friends and kind of like that was like, you know, some of the Pokemon games, because obviously that was, you know, a huge fucking craze then.
Yeah.
But honestly, it wasn't until I was in like early college that I kind of talked about games with people and stuff like that. And so I'm hard pressed to kind of remember. You know, I do have, you know, a few fond memories, but nothing like crazy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All
right, let's move on. Zero Skies. How have your taste in games genre changed over time? What got you into genres you liked nearer to the present?
I will say my interest in JRPGs has dipped pretty dramatically. Not that I don't like them anymore, but I'm far less.
No one wants to talk about what you don't like, Nick. We want to talk about what you do like.
That's how it's changed. I used to be like super into them, and now I'm just kind of like they have to be like there has to be something really special about them to make me want to try them.
Yeah.
I don't play nearly as many shooters as I used to either.
Oh, dude, yeah, that like for me, high school, college, like I was almost entirely shooters.
Yeah,
I'd play some action games, like I really liked Assassin's Creed and stuff, and I played like the first Batman, but I didn't start playing like RPGs or anything like that really until this 4Player podcast. With the exception of Knights of the Old Republic. I played that one in high school, and that same summer actually fell in love with it. So good.
Like in college, I was really, really big on online, you know, multiplayer games like Call of Duty and stuff like that.
Yeah. Dude,
okay, Mr. Division.
Counter-Strike back in the day. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah,
I think college life in general like really lends itself to like just being able to sit down and play like online shooters.
Well, yeah, because you have nothing but fucking free time.
But like the past like 5-6 years of my life, I've gotten to the point where I don't want to deal with people anymore. So if I'm going to play online, I'm going to like mute everybody, or maybe I'll play like just pure single player if I can.
Yeah, you're playing in like dad mode.
Yeah, basically dad mode. Yeah.
Dad mode's my permanent mode of of playing.
Roguelikes were not something I was into back in the day. I don't know the first one that kind of got me. I mean, definitely Binding of Isaac was a big one. But that's also before that. That was like back when that was a Flash game. I played that.
Yeah.
I remember when that came out.
I will say because of this show, I just in general I am way more willing now to give
anything a shot.
I mean, I'm willing to play games that back in the day that just wouldn't have been my radar at all. And a lot of this because the how the indie space has blown up.
Oh yeah.
Just there's so many interesting new ways of telling stories and stuff that I just wasn't even privy to back in the day. So my horizons have been efficiently broadened.
Cool. Let's move on. Next question from Alexander, one of our new patrons.
Ooh.
Can you guys please unban my Twitch account from chatting?
Oh my goodness.
Next question.
I'll look into it.
What did you do?
Well, I think he says, doesn't he?
All I did was ask Nick a while ago if he would curb stomp a baby for $1 billion.
Oh yeah, that's probably.
It was a joke. It was a joke, and I didn't mean to offend.
Okay, but whose baby?
And he says, "My Twitch name is thanks. Oh, and would any of you curb stomp a baby for $1 billion?"
No, I already.
No,
I don't think I would. But I mean,
No.
$1 billion is a lot of money, and
It is.
We live in a capitalistic hellscape, so. I mean, what did the baby do?
Yeah, my God. What if it was an ugly baby?
Oh no!
Oh, come on!
No. But I would go to extreme lengths to forfeit the curb, or not forfeit.
Forgo.
No, stop it.
I wouldn't forego any of that.
What's the word for fake money? Counterfeit.
Counterfeit the baby?
I would counterfeit a baby curb stomping and keep the baby and provide for it with the $1 billion.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Curb
He'd make a deep fake curb stomp.
I'm not gonna curb stomp a baby, but I will
make it look like I curb stomped a baby.
I will invest a lot of money into trying to make it look like I curb stomp a baby, and then get the $1 billion, and I'll take the baby and
then what
raise
happens,
the baby with the $1
what
billion.
happens when they try to send you to jail for curb stomping a baby?
They're gonna give me $1 billion. I'll be rich. I won't go to jail.
that
You
is
just go to a
What if
non-extradition
they take
country?
away your $1 billion?
that is in fact how it works.
That's not the.
I would not curb stomp.
That's not how it works.
All right, moving on.
I wouldn't either. Just to be clear, just so we all know that's where I landed. But I would.
He just wants
Alexander, I
people to
will
think
look
he did.
into your initial request.
I don't
as
mind
well.
if people think I curb stomp.
Next question from Mr. Green Toast. With Yakuza 7 shifting the action brawler to a, quote, live command RPG battle system.
Is that what they're calling it?
I guess so. I wanted to ask if you recall any games that shifted the entire genre with a sequel that wasn't a spin-off. For example, Fallout 3 shifted from a turn-based strategy combat of past games into a first, third-person shooter. That's actually was the one I was going to go for.
Yeah, there's probably lots of examples of this, but I can't really think of any of them.
Halo Wars.
But that was a spin-off.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
that was, and it didn't shift any.
Actually, there's probably less examples of that than I'm actually.
Yeah.
How about no, that doesn't count because it's a spin-off. I was gonna say Mario Rabbids.
The non-spin-off thing is definitely a tough one.
How about
Resident Evil 4.
How about Mario 64?
I'll give you a Resident Evil 4.
Mario
Yeah.
64.
Mario 64.
Mario 64 is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it became a 3D platformer instead of a 2D platformer.
Ocarina.
And it was a mainline.
Yeah.
But that's more because of technological
Shut the
advancements.
fuck
Okay,
up,
fine.
Nick.
Fuck you. Next question.
Castlevania,
Lords of Shadow.
Lords of Shadows. Yes.
That is true.
Or what was the one they did on Lament of Innocence? Or I don't know.
All right,
question.
moving on. Next question from Don.
Don Dolan, I think.
You open a law practice
Okay.
and are given the choice of
Okay.
any animal to be your lawyer partner with badass legal skills.
Okay.
Oh.
Which animal would you choose?
Penguin.
Ferret.
Walrus.
You're taking a long time to think about this, Chris.
You've already thought about it too hard.
I think the
You
the
didn't have
correct
the
answer
lawyer
here is
partner,
a dog.
No, blue whale.
You don't have room for a blue whale.
I get a dog.
My practice,
No,
my practice would be so successful we could afford to have room for a blue
He'd
whale.
be a partner. But Chris Davis has the right idea because a dog could, sniff out justice.
Oh.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
True. Although I immediately thought of emu too because of what was the Space
head.
Ghost where he like is it Space Ghost? What was it?
Space Ghost. Which is an amazing show, by the
Falcon,
way.
right?
Wonderful show.
You think of Harvey Birdman?
Harvey Birdman,
attorney at law.
When he's trying to find
Harvey Birdman,
he's trying to replace the bird, and he like brings in birds to interview whatever. He brings in the emu, and he's like pencil, and then obviously you just see like the bird like neck come out of the corner of the screen. And
you're right. We've seen
We've all seen Harvey Birdman.
We've seen the legal prowess of birds.
I think that applies here. We're talking about legal practice.
Also a dolphin.
I'll go with emu.
Also a dolphin.
I went with penguin.
You don't need to think about
these
animals
who
can't live outside of water. God damn it!
Penguins can live outside of water.
That's true. Blue whales are mammals. They don't need water.
Plus, I like my office to be a little cold anyway. So
there you go.
I think it would work just
Well,
fine.
you could also get like a penguin that's less. I mean, there are penguins that live in warmer climates.
No.
Like
No, I'm gonna go
rockhoppers don't mind warmer climates.
I'm thinking like an emperor penguin.
Emperor penguin?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll just get like a little... like his desk will be in a kiddie pool. So.
Oh, like a little igloo?
Like Pen from Evangelion or something?
All right, moving on. Next
Exactly.
question from Ashif.
That's the only thing I like about Evangelion. Is that fucking penguin.
What's one dream game you guys would like to see come to the Switch for portability, realistic or not?
I don't like portability.
Oh man,
I really don't play games on the go.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, those are boring answers.
Okay.
You play games on the toilet, guys. Come on.
Things like
I'm busy on the toilet.
Things like
You've got shit to do.
How much concentration are you putting into
my
this?
hands are like they've got things to do. My butt's doing things.
I was gonna go with I would probably say like JRPGs are a good one, like classic ones that you like love.
Yes.
Like, a lot of them have already come.
No. Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah.
For the love of God and all that is holy, Xenoblade Chronicles X, please. I never finished it because the Wii U's a piece of shit.
Oh,
yeah. But that game was so good.
I was confused for a second. I was like, "Isn't that already?"
It's really
I was like, "Oh no!" I was thinking of the other one.
Yes, you're thinking of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or Xenoblade 2.
You know what?
Whatever.
You know what I would take on the go like more readily than like some other
Cooking Mama.
Yeah, Cooking Mama. Is that portable?
Yes.
Like an MMO. Like if I could take like the old Republic on the go with me.
If I could just take the drugs with me.
Yeah, if I could just like
if I could just never stop playing.
Because a lot of missions in like MMOs are very just like
bad.
Like I mean it's like I can do other things while I'm doing this.
It's true.
And often do.
Very true.
So
but if you're gonna take a game like that and make it portable, take advantage of the fact that the game's fucking portable now and put in elements like fucking Pokemon Go. You go to like a Pokestop or so if you're playing like DC Universe Online or something, you go to like a fucking villain's hideout, which is a restaurant. Why was that
the first one that came to mind, Chris Davis?
I don't know.
Why'd you say that?
You monster. Next question.
You fucking
That's
racist.
all the questions from our patrons this week.
All right.
And we have no supporter questions.
Oh, no Twitch subscriber questions.
Shit.
If you do want to ask us questions on our next episode, if you're a supporter on Patreon at any tier, go to patreon.com/4Player. There'll be a post we put up at the beginning of the week. Leave your comments there. If you're a Twitch subscriber, you can go to the supporters channel in Discord and leave your questions there and just ping me. You can do @Nick or @Nolan.
You don't have to add anybody. I just look in that channel.
Or you can do that too. That works too. I do want, of course, want to do our
whatever you want though.
Our supporter spotlight for the week, which I should have been prepared, but my phone is practically dead here, so I didn't have it pulled up. I'm so sorry. I know it's Necrotechno.
Necrotechno.
Yeah.
If I can just get to the damn responses, that'd be great.
Oh, damn, your phone really is.
Yeah, it's at 1%. So if I don't get to finish this, I'm sorry. Necrotechno.
Read fast.
First name is Eden.
You could just take a screenshot
Eden is
and
from
send
Australia,
it to me.
but temporarily.
the battery for it.
You guys are killing me. Eden, Necrotechno, is from Australia, but is currently living in England.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
Get out while you can.
Top 5 games of all time. Here we go. Number 5, Persona.
4.
3 golden.
3 golden.
No, it's 5 actually. Oh, that's a strange choice. Persona 5 has a lot of problems. In particular, Atlas.
He's all about that panther.
Atlas is notoriously homophobic and transphobic. Oh dear.
Was not aware.
I was not aware either, but the themes of anti-authoritarianism and collective action against unjust hierarchies is a welcome message at this time in the general political discourse. Wow. That was a very good response. Yep. And you're right. Number 4, Nier Automata. Much discussed on the show already, but there is a reason for the explosive success of the game. Of all things Nier Automata has to offer, I adored the thematic layering of the cyclical approach to storytelling the most. I wish I could forget it to experience it again. That's true. That was super fucking unique. Sorry, I'm going to move very quickly just so I can at least get through your top 5.
Lose your power.
Before my phone decides to fuck off. Pyre, number 3.
Pyre.
The first, I know.
Fantasy sports game.
These are all fairly recent, too. The first, but not last, Supergiant game to make my list. Pyre wonderfully contrasts a fun, sport-like event system with their usual emotionally charged storytelling into one very satisfying game loop. A beautiful experience. That is true. I think Pyre might have my favorite gameplay of Supergiant's games, even though I didn't finish it, but that game is really unique. And the sport is actually really fun once you get the hang of it. Number 2 is Caves of Qud? Q-U-D? This was
Cud.
I don't know what that is. A quirky roguelike that is brimming with surprises. So much love has gone into crafting every aspect of this experience. The depth is unbelievable. A must-try for fans of the genre. Huh. I actually am not familiar with that one. Although I feel like it sounds familiar. Maybe we have talked about it before. I just haven't.
Pink Candy Cave.
Yes, that's the one. And her number 1 game of all time is Transistor. The second Supergiant game to make my list. I played Transistor at a time in my life where I was struggling with mental illness and addiction, and the game's themes of identity, agency, moral ambiguity, and sacrifice struck a chord with me. To me, it's a masterpiece.
Did you say C-U-D or Q-U-D?
Q-U-D.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I found it. It's a 10 out of 10 on Steam.
Holy shit. Well.
It came out 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
That sounds familiar.
It looks like it originally launched in 2015. But I think it might have been an early access.
It's still early access.
Jesus.
That's a really good list. Transistor, by the way, was recently there was a limited run games run on Transistor coming to Switch. I actually bought it. I don't know why. It was like a very split second decision. I was like, I never finished that game. Mm-hmm. I want it on Switch. So I picked it up. So
Transistor would be a good one on Switch.
All right, and I will do Eden's underrated game that she wishes more people would play. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed 2064 Read-Only Memories.
I heard of this. Yeah.
It's a sci-fi adventure game. I'm hesitant to label it as cyberpunk as it paints a relatively optimistic picture of the future as opposed to most cyberpunk, but it does explore some similar themes. It also has some great minority representation. Peoples of color, queer culture, and disabilities are highlighted throughout the game, and I really enjoyed that. It's somewhat comparable to Valhalla.
Yeah.
The one that's Chris Davis
great game,
which I really enjoyed. But I much prefer the ethics presented in ROM. Was that what it's called? Yeah.
Read-only memory.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. I was like, what is that?
2064
stands for. Valhalla was made by a bunch of
2 gigs of read-only memory. Mm-hmm. Go on.
By a bunch of Channers. The bad guys are literally called White Knights. Give me a fucking break.
Oh.
Really?
Ooh. Wait, what?
So Valhalla was made by a bunch of Channers. The bad guys are like literally called White Knights. Give me a fucking break.
No.
I don't know what... I might be misreading this. But anyways, if you enjoy sci-fi, exploration of the ethics of AI, or a fun mystery, check it out.
Interesting.
Again, that's 2064 Read-Only Memories. That sounds cool. I've never actually heard of that or seen it, but it sounds pretty dope. I do like all of these things she mentions here at the end. So yeah, thank you very much for your submissions. If you're a supporter on Patreon at the $3 tier or higher, or a Twitch subscriber, you can go to the supporter spotlight channel in Discord, and there's a link pinned in there with a form. You can fill it out. It's just some general questions about your taste in games and you as a community member and that kind of thing. I pick one at random every week and read some responses. We do need some new submissions. We only have like 6 or 7 left that I haven't read from yet. Of course, we'll eventually circle back around. There's like 8 to 10 questions on there. I can still read stuff from... I can feature people twice, is what I'm saying. But would like to continue featuring new people. So if you're a supporter, I encourage you guys to fill it out. Now, let's wrap up the show with the 4-player minute. You know what it is. Hype, sweat, thank you, and fuck you. Who's going to start us off? Chris Davis, are you comfortable starting us off?
Shit. Okay.
I said, are you comfortable?
That's too late. You gotta
come back to me. Come back.
Okay.
To me. Sorry.
Nolan?
All right, my hype for this week.
Just start naming shit you're excited for.
My hype. I'm gonna go first because fuck you guys. My hype for this week is for Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. Coming out in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Looks fucking dope.
You gonna report back to us on
Destiny it? Destiny 2 2.0 start now. Yeah. What?
You gonna report back to us on it?
Maybe. You guys don't want to hear about it.
Maybe I do.
Maybe you do. Text me. We'll talk about
it.
All right. My sweat for this week is that Control is going to melt my fucking graphics card. I'm playing on PC on the low settings, and my computer's still not like my computer's like okay, we'll play this game.
Maybe we can get that taken care of if you want to take a break from Control for a few days.
But I'm gonna fucking.
Did you ever check on your graphics card like I asked you to?
I did.
And
he's gonna report back to us tonight.
It's got a low number.
We're gonna.
The whole point was I potentially had a better one I could give you.
It has a 5 on it.
670 if you think that you have a better than that.
He probably does.
I do.
Yeah.
I just need to make sure they're compatible.
Oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that means. Compatible? My fuck you for this week. You know what? We didn't talk about it in the news, but
oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of like Me Too stuff going on with indie developers. Or not just indie developers. But one of them was that Alex dude from Night in the Woods.
Yep.
And
they have severed ties with him officially, though.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is good.
Composer
I feel like their reaction has been very well handled.
I mean, what can you do?
I mean, just like in terms of like they were like, you know, the way they addressed it publicly, like the way they addressed the community, and they were like, we have severed ties. Like he is like apparently he has not even reached out to them, and they're like, what the fuck? It's a whole fucked up situation, but you know.
It's kind of fucked up, and it's like,
is it really that hard, people?
Like,
is it really that hard?
Stop being
to not be a fucking shithead.
Yeah, just
I don't find it very difficult.
Fucking fuck you, stop it. We're gonna find out Nick's a monster.
You know, I read an article the other night about the daughter. So I watched Mindhunter.
Sure.
I watched the article. I read the article about the daughter of the BTK killer, and like the story of how he was caught and how she found out her dad was the BTK killer, but like she was like 23 and he was committing these crimes like throughout her entire life, and like so she had like a relationship with him, and you just found out like 23 years into your life that your dad was like that melted my brain.
Yeah, that's not great.
It's fucked up. That show is great though. You should watch that show.
That would not be fun.
No, I don't know why I read it. It made me very depressed for a bit.
My thank you goes to
me for buying a new graphics card.
Hey, I love you, Nick. I love you, Daddy. He's so good to me, Daddy.
Oh my goodness.
That's it.
All right, Nolan. I'm gonna let you go next.
My hype is for Telling Lies.
Fuck! I forgot. Yeah, my hype's for Telling Lies.
You can't do it. You're already done.
So aggressive.
Yeah. That game's pretty good. I'm excited to play more of it. Got to wait for Bernadette to come back, but she'll be back tomorrow. My second hype is UT football starts on Saturday. Season tickets, so gonna be going to Goes. Gonna see some Matthew McConaughey there. He's at most of the games. He'll probably be at most of them now, especially since he's teaching there.
Hey, remember that time that Bevo tried to murder the Georgia dog?
Yep, I do. Good times.
Can't wait for the rematch.
Which leads to, I don't know if we're playing Georgia.
All right, this is not the time to check, Nolan.
No, hold on.
You went into check mode. Please get back to
LA Tech is Saturday. LSU the next weekend. UT, Rice, Oklahoma.
Oh, they're playing UT?
No, UT versus Rice. I don't think we're playing Georgia.
Well,
my God. Nolan immediately went into I'm going to check my phone mode, and there was no stopping.
Revenge is a dish best served cold.
Which leads to my sweat. UT football starts this weekend, which means about 5.5 to 6 hours every Saturday I can't play video games.
There you go.
You're supposing that you'll actually get to go to those games.
Take your Nintendo Switch.
Since I have season tickets, yes, I will be going to the games.
He goes to most of them.
What do you mean? If I get to go, I have season tickets. I go to all of them.
He's a program booster. He's like one of the biggest donors. They named a section of the stadium after him.
That's not true, right?
I'm joking.
No, it's not.
He'd have to be worth a lot more.
Yeah, no, I definitely
Based on how
don't
fast
have
he was able to pull that up on his phone, I was like,
well, I just have the schedule on my calendar because I got to go to the games.
If he would have curb stomped a baby, he would have the money to.
Or if he would have at least
counterfeit curb stopped.
Yeah.
Fake curb stop.
And then
here I go.
Sorry, Nolan.
No, not at all. So I have another sweat. There's a lot of games I've put down lately. Like, I've just kind of stopped playing a lot of games. And it's just one of those situations where I don't dislike any of them. It's just more shit keeps coming out. And I'm like, well, this
shit is
game
literally about to hit the fan.
Looks pretty good. And it's like one of those situations. Like, it's Outer Wilds. I didn't put that game down because I wasn't enjoying it. I was fucking loving it. Something else came out.
Yeah.
And I put that, I got to play Rebel Galaxy. Oh, well, I got to play Telling Lies. And it's like, and that's just been happening more and more lately that I'm not really finishing anything.
Is Prince of the Universe joking when he says, well, don't worry, Nolan, the rest of the year is pretty quiet? Because it's like...
well, he put Kappa at the end.
Kappa face, so.
And Kappa's sarcasm. So.
Which means he's very serious.
Yeah. So, yes, it's just going to get fucking worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Chris Davis.
I guess my first type would be for more Remnant. That game is it's getting its claws in me. I'm not really one for like the Dark Souls or Bloodborne experience that much. But playing it co-op and having friends together to play it and having
He's got to brag how many friends you have.
Every 10 minutes, them yelling in my ear, "Oh my god, I've never seen that before. We were in this area a couple hours ago. That wasn't there before."
Of all the things that we saw in that footage, the thing where you put the thing in the robot and then suddenly it came to life, like that was pretty cool.
That was just out of fucking no. We did not expect that at all. So
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of what this game is, and they are promising updates for this game. Like, they're promising brand new biomes and a ton of shit for the future of it. So, and it's also good that it's actually making them a lot more money than Darksiders 3 ever did. Mm-hmm. So,
that's good.
So that my next type would be for that new Resident Evil game.
You don't even know anything about it. Because
fuck you, if it's Outbreak like I really hope it to be, that's fucking great. Outbreak, I think,
people have some
again, it was ahead of its time.
Outbreak.
I think that game, it had jank to it. It really had jank. But the concept of what they were going for, fucking brilliant. I loved it. And I just never really got to play that much because it was PS2 internet.
Yes.
So.
Hey, I played SOCOM back in the day a lot.
Oh my god, SOCOM. My sweat for this week matches up with what Nolan was saying and the fact that I have so many games that I'm probably going to skip out on.
Oh, I thought it was talking about UT football. I was like, wait, what?
No, I've...
Gotcha, okay.
No, there's just...
I follow you.
August has been an unfortunately expensive month, and because of that, I have had to skip out on a number of releases that I wanted to check out, let alone a bunch of other stuff that came out earlier this year that I just never got around to.
Mm-hmm.
Guys in chat, I'm going to tell you right now, just don't grow up.
No, just don't
seriously, dude. Literally, as you can. Literally, last night I spent 3.5 hours not playing games. But the problem is there's an issue with the moisture in my freezer because ice maker compartment is inside the food compartment and it keeps freezing over. So last night I spent 3.5 hours defrosting my freezer. Had to go to the Home Depot and get some special silicone to seal up the box and do all this stuff. So literally all of my food is shoved into my fucking mini fridge and I have like coolers filled with ice and that's fucking life, man. I got to do that shit now. I could have been playing games the whole time.
You should have just foregone all that and just said whatever happens, fuck it.
Just do yourself a favor. Stay in your mid-20s. Top out at like 26
just
or 27.
Never leave college.
Never
rack
leave
up $300 million in student debt.
Van Wilder.
Bernie Sanders will forgive it eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
Was that it, or is there another one.
I had a fuck you, but I forgot what it was about.
Brad.
Fuck you to Brad for not being here. How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you care so much about your family?
How dare you celebrate the birth of your child? It is Henry's birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, Henry.
Happy birthday.
All right.
Happy birthday, Henry.
My 4-player minute starts
like
right
now?
now. My hype right now is for tomorrow night. I'm gonna be streaming Blair Witch.
Ooh.
And it's either gonna be terrible, but in a good way, or good in a good way. So
nobody's
one of those things,
talking about.
There's no. There's no reviews yet. Who the fuck knows what it's gonna be? But I'm gonna be playing it tomorrow night on the stream, starting at about 8 p.m. So I'm gonna try and fucking just. I'm sure the game's not long. I'm gonna try and just fucking beeline it to the end of that game. My second hype is for Man of Medan, which apparently I'm gonna be playing this weekend too.
Black Betty.
This is a really good time right now because there's a lot of stuff out, but it's a lot of shorter stuff. Like I got Control, which I think I can probably finish this weekend. I got Man of Medan, which is like 5 hours long. I got Blair Witch, which I'm guessing is also about 5 hours long. I'm gonna start blowing through things this weekend because in September and October and November, it's just a shitstorm of like 40 to 50 hour games. I don't even, that's my sweat. Holy fucking shit. There's so much stuff coming out that is going to be like huge time sinks. My second sweat is also going to be Sekiro. I made a ton of progress this past weekend. In fact, I got through the boss that I was stuck on over and over again. And I went from like having 2 full prayer bead necklaces to having 6. Nice. If that tells you anything, that's how many like sub bosses and final bosses or actual bosses I fought. And I'm like I finally feel like I can maybe do this. I can probably finish. That's like my white whale 2019. So like I am closing in, but man, I am nervous because everyone keeps talking about the final boss being a bitch.
Have you been to the Divine Realm yet?
Not yet, but I could go there. I'm in the Hirata estate for the second time, which is an optional thing. So it's on fire, and that's
ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
The boss of that area.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have trouble with Madame Butterfly?
I nightjar slashed the shit out
of him. That's how you do that boss.
You can't do that with this boss.
Okay. Well, I will tell you this. Like, bosses that I feel like I would have had a ton of trouble with, like, 20 hours ago in the game, I'm just like I fought remember I was stuck on Genichiro on the top of the castle for, like, months? I fought the owl boss on top of there in the same arena and everything. I beat him on my, like, second try.
Okay.
And he's not an easy boss.
Can I give you a bit of a piece of advice?
Sure.
Remember the well from the very beginning of the game that you were in?
Yes.
Go there.
I feel like I just did that recently. We'll talk about it later. Let's see. I'll just do another hype because I don't remember. I've already lost track of where the fuck I am. I'm going to say Greedfall. I mentioned that a few weeks ago, but that game's coming out and it's building momentum. People are talking about it. I've watched some gameplay footage.
It's not a James Bond game, right?
Yes, okay. I do know. It is a game that is probably going to be hit or miss, but like something about that game just fucking works for me, and I want people to look into this game at least.
Brand of Eurojank, Nick.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. But you know what? It's just one of those games that for whatever reason just like
first Greedfall, then the Surge 2.
Yes.
What's next?
Dude, September is Borderlands 3, Greedfall, Surge 2,
Destiny
Code
2
Vein,
Shadowkeep,
Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, and like 2 others that I think I'm forgetting. But anyways, that's it. That's my 4-player minute. That's the end of our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. 4playernetwork.com is the website. Of course, you can find all of our episodes there. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. You can join our Discord. It's absolutely free. Go to discord.gg/4player. We'd love to have you. If you're new, drop into the introduction channel. Say hi. We want to hear from everybody. And join us next week, because next week we'll have Man of Medan. We'll have
Falls Mainly on the Plan.
We'll have Blair Witch to talk about. We'll have Astral Chain. Bradley will be back. I'm sure he'll be talking about Astral Chain. So next week will be a packed show as well. So don't. I was about to say don't go anywhere. I was like, you can absolutely go somewhere now. The show is over. Everyone disperse. Leave.
Go home. It's over.
Go home. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next week. Good night.
Good night.